Okay, so let's do the 3, 2, 1 clap, right?
Yep.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1 clap.
1.
Oh, let's do that again.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
3, 2,
2, 1.
Let's do that again. Okay. All right.
Okay.
3, 2,
2,
1,
1.
clap. You slowed down when you were. Just let me do the numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1, clap.
Oh, one more time. All right. So you clap when you say clap, not afterwards.
I guess
right,
I shouldn't have said clap. I guess I should have just gone 3, 2, 1, and then actually just clapped and remained silent.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right. We'll try this once more. Otherwise, I'm giving up before you even started.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1. It's good enough.
You're close.
And they don't blow their own trumpets.
Give them to me.
Okay, so is there any way you want to introduce this or anything, or want me to introduce it?
I imagine we just go, hey, like we always did,
Yeah.
in plucky radio fashion, and then just start talking about our taints or something.
Oh, I remember this. We only did like 70 episodes.
Was it that much? I can't remember.
I mean, technically, if you count the things we didn't release, we did like
I suppose
100.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'd say much more than that. Wasn't it? It was 100. If you think, yeah, I'm thinking in terms of every segment when you break down the Boisterous Brothers, because that feels like well over 200 fucking episodes.
Yeah, that was so arduous.
Yes, that was a tough slog. That
I remember nothing about that. I remember nothing. I see things that people write sometimes as comments, and I sort of recognize it as a reference to something that is a reference to something else that we did before, but I don't know what that original like reference prime is.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I something I worked with came across the last podcast, and he referenced something that I'd said, and I just had no fucking idea what he was talking about. So I'm not going back to fucking check it to kind of fact check the fucking bullshit that he's talking. Because if it's true, it means I said that bullshit.
Oh man, was it accusatory?
No, I think it was meant in a complimentary fashion. He said he enjoyed it, and it's like, all right, I'm not going to pull at that thread, not in the workplace.
No.
Just don't mention it to anybody else. All right?
Surprisingly good.
I'm working in management at this point, so please don't fucking do that.
Oh.
You want to go home early? Please fuck off right now. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we're about done. That was solid. That 4 minutes and 20 seconds that we just recorded right there.
Oh, so we do our shout outs and like tune in next week for such and such, right?
Thank you to XX Terminator 15XX for the emojis, the custom Damien emojis squatting and doing a shit.
Well, I mean, I am the poo man, right? I believe I had a reputation for most of my stories being feces related.
No, that's somehow, Damien, that is a positive spin.
So why do I have it tattooed across my chest?
They were mostly cum related.
Oh yeah, okay. I really remember the apocryphal guitar one, yeah.
What if it's a bass?
Well, no jizzing at all if it's not an acoustic.
Okay, so I guess I'll actually introduce it now. Welcome to Sans Hosen. Is that the name we're going for? Sans Hosen?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a podcast, like all podcasts, where it's two sort of, kind of ignorant people just talking about shit they don't really have any understanding of, in a sort of matter-of-fact way where everything sort of blurs in and becomes just meaningless drivel very quickly. It's with me, Georg Rockall-Schmidt. I'm a man. It's Damien Benedict is the other man's voice you'll be hearing. He's a man.
Yeah, thanks. I feel touched. I feel I feel all the better for that introduction.
I think that I am actually very proud of these in terms of I don't feel like I've ever missold them. I've always tried to be upfront about these are worthless. But like looking back at the beginning of the ironically titled GRS show, which we did about the Phantom Menace, which I can't say without laughing. I do remember some people were like, "This isn't about the Phantom Menace. You've wasted my time." And yeah, I just want to get this out right now that you've already wasted your time. If you cut your losses now, you've wasted your time.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be negative.
No, of course not. You're just trying to you're trying to demonstrate integrity.
Integrity
up front.
This is just I do this because this is a laugh for me. And,
is it? We were both pretty apprehensive. I mean, one thing you briefed me on last night, was make sure you bring your happy voice, you cunt.
That's because you were meant to do it yesterday, and I just got a message from you, just before we were meant to do it, saying, without any punctuation, "I'm sorry, I'm going to have to postpone until tomorrow." It came across like it was an emergency.
Well, it was a rectal fissure.
And then when I asked you about it before we started, it was just like, yeah, things are fine. And I can only imagine you had a fight with your father. How is the mansion?
I call it mausoleum, but it's absolutely fan-dabby-dozy. It's progressing nicely. It's progressing as I kind of anticipated. The collapse of this manor is right on track.
Skype fell off. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you fine now. I didn't realise you dropped off, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm too self-absorbed. When I'm talking, that's it. That's the only thing in the world. That's how fucking fascinating I find myself.
Wow, Skype's reviewing this podcast. It just says poor connection. Coronavirus has torn us apart, Damien.
No audience retention.
I always remember. Sorry, I'm taking this completely nowhere already, but I always remember the sketch from the Peep Show boys when they went off to do their own thing. The Mitchell and Webb look. The sketch where they were doing a game show, in the post-apocalypse, and it was meant to be like a normal game show, but they kept saying, "Don't talk about what happened. Don't go outside." Something like that. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't watch that.
Okay, well, never mind then. Okay. Well, it was just that. It was just a joke about about sort of ignoring, a disaster or something like that. Like a terrible zombie apocalypse or something. And I just wonder sort of what other people are doing, who are doing podcasts and sort of more casual shit where they don't have to be the news people who are pretending everything's normal. Are they acknowledging this? What's going on?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone will be right up front with their hot takes and an implied self-importance. I just don't bring myself to kind of listen to that stuff.
So people are aware then that there is a TV crisis going on right now where there is nothing to watch. Because first what happened was I went through the fucking office for the second time, the US office, right, all the way to the end for the second time, and I thought, I can't do that again. All right, I'm going for Cheers, right, because I know Frasier isn't on there anymore, so I went for Cheers.
God, man.
And Cheers wasn't on there, and there was nothing on there that I wanted to watch, so I just went right back to episode 1, season 1, the US office, and in a way it was it was an interesting experience because I really felt like the drudgery really came through on the third watch through.
Or when when this is getting edited up, right? Just when you go through that list, put some sad fiddle in the background as you list those TV shows. There wasn't any Cheers, no Frasier.
And
I was a pilgrim in an unholy land.
and then after Christmas, I go back. The Office isn't on there anymore. The Office is gone. Why? Why am I bothering?
Well, at this point, you become dependent on it. It's not unreasonable to see why you would, but why Netflix would have dispatched with it, I do not know. I'm sure it was.
Well, it was poached,
quite a cash
I
cow
guess.
for it, yeah.
I mean, it used to be that. God damn it, Netflix was a monopoly, and that was great for us, kind of. And they used to have weird stuff on there, and it's all whatever.
Yeah, and slowly but surely, it's been upping its price without me really fucking understanding. Been paying for this shit for 10 years. For half of it, I've been paying double what I signed up for. I mean, for most normal people with stable careers, I guess that's fine. It's only 10 quid that's being siphoned from your bank account, but as someone that lives primarily as a pauper, that's a week's worth of fucking meals for me.
You don't live as a pauper. You can't say that.
I don't know. In this house, I kind of feel like I'm squatting.
Oh yeah, no, right now.
Like
Okay, yeah, right now, yeah. No, you don't live like a pauper even right now. You live as like a destitute Russian nobleman who's like got the house. They can't take that away for you, but you are like living on turnips and bread.
Yeah, substitute the turnips for the cheapest kind of cheddar that you can find that's super milky. And you've kind of got it down, really.
I mean, the only difference is that, it's not like your father owns like a massive folly, on the outside of Moscow that is worth millions, but he won't let go of for some reason. So when he dies, you can sell it. Like, no, you have nothing. You just have this like rat hole filled house. With no, I mean, I don't even imagine that there is a lawn anymore. It's just a blanket of dog turd.
Yep, absolutely. It's got to a point when if you look at the patio at the back door of the kitchen, it's just a fine blanket of what you think is mud, but it's just it's years and years of dog shit that's just been ground down into a sort of fine paste that kind of blankets it.
Like atomized dog shit.
I mean, I could send you some pics. We can do a little slideshow right now for you. People are really wanting to see that.
Do you think we've driven them off yet?
Well, this is assuming anybody's come back.
No, Damien, I'm going to plug this. There's a whole new audience out there of bewildered young people who are trapped indoors. That I can put some fancy colours on it. I'll picture of My Little Pony and pixelate it so it looks like it's a Minecraft thing. I'll get them like that.
What was it you were saying at the top of this episode about being honest in what you're broadcasting? See, I, Damien, can say I'm not a hack fraud because I don't fucking bury the lead.
You can lie if it's ironic and funny.
So whenever it fucking suits you, your point.
No, if it serves the purpose of being funny rather than deceiving. Okay. That's the line.
Okay, you tell yourself that. You can cry yourself all the way to the bank.
Like, could you send me a recent picture of yourself, and I will, for the thumbnail, I'll edit in like a diamond Minecraft pickaxe, and that will display knowledge of the game. People will be like, he chose the diamond one, so he knows what he's doing. He's a pro.
All right, I'll see if I'll make it. I'll see what I can do.
Have you been playing a lot of Minecraft recently? In the cave.
I mean, do you want me to answer honestly or try and make this a bit, because I know sweet fuck all about it.
No, you don't. You spent like 50 hours on Minecraft back in the day. I remember exactly.
I mean, it was maybe topped out at that, and that's got to have been fucking 10 years ago.
Don't be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed. I'm just not knowledgeable, my good chum.
On Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely a dab hand at Lego. When
Damien,
I was
we've been
wee
through
lad,
this in the marketing meeting. This is what the kids are into. Right? You didn't know last year, or not last year, the last podcast, whatever that was called. You didn't know anything about Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And you don't know anything about Cyberpunk, I don't imagine. That's what a lot of people are talking about. Dead air!
Yeah, I know. I've forgotten what this fucking feels like. See, what I neglected to mention is that we're live streaming this. So how are you picking up the mic on my side? I do not know.
To the G20 as well. This is our big break.
Somehow you've hacked the fucking camera in this iMac as well, so it's just I can see my face being plastered up Times Square or some shit like that right now.
No, it's just going to all the mental patients who they can't electrocute anymore, so they're doing this. This has the same sort of effect on the brain as, you know, periodic shocks to the temples.
Yes,
twitchy,
absolutely.
Very twitchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can say that. I did. You know, we were talking about how I've got everything rigged up here because it's I've kind of pulled this setup out my arse since I've got. I mean, I'm not where I currently live. I'm staying with my dad for these many lockdowns, and the rig that I'm using I've just kind of stapled together. And I said that I'd have to work really hard on keeping still on this on an aged chair. And yeah, you're quite right. I'm super twitchy doing this, and all I can feel every creak of the wood shooting through my body at the moment. It's going to be unbearable to listen to. I'm dreading hearing it.
Well, don't worry, because I will start eating and drinking, and that'll distract people. Gin.
That's a good point. Yeah, I should probably get milk this for what it's worth.
It sounded like you were slurping up like a bedpan. It sounded gross. What was that?
So you have hacked the camera.
What was that you drank? That sounded awful. That sounded like an ancient pot noodle.
It's just a mug, but it's just obscenely huge. It's almost as wide as my face.
Right. It's just a bowl with a handle on it. Yeah, so it's like a potty.
Yeah, I would say it's almost like a beaker, really. It just doesn't have that kind of rubber nipple on top.
Do you still have to use the potty in the mansion because Father won't get the toilet fixed?
Yeah, the toilet situation here is less than fucking desirable. There are 3 toilets in this house, and only one is in full operational order. That one happens to be in the ensuite bathroom, connected to my father's bedroom.
What, you mean Max's wanking toilet doesn't work?
Yes, absolutely.
Which I seem to remember isn't that so called because your dad's friend Max had a wank in this toilet once, and because it is like a conservatory toilet with a window and it was the height of summer, he almost got heat stroke and passed out.
That does sound like Max.
And
yeah.
it was only, it was only resolved when he, I guess he was squatting or something, because it's quite a small bathroom. It's just a toilet. There's no sink, bizarrely, I seem to remember, or is there one?
There is a sink.
There is a sink. Okay,
There's
well,
also a
relief.
bath. Otherwise,
There's
I couldn't call it a bathroom. Damn it.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, you're thinking of no. Sorry, you're thinking of the one that was downstairs.
Yes.
That was by the front door.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, that doesn't exist anymore.
I mean, it technically still exists, but I have no idea what it fucking looks like.
I just imagine there's something planted in the toilet.
Oh yeah. I dread. Yeah, I mean,
A small
I'm
palm
sure
tree.
Yeah, it will have rooted. I'm sure a good couple of meters into the earth below. There's a reason that we have that door barred on the other side completely shut. But what that became like a storage room, God knows how long ago now. Now it's just got so much stuff caked in front of that door. I've forgotten that there was. I keep forgetting that there was.
There's a lodger in there.
There could be skeletons. I mean, one of the things that I found out, during the first lockdown, is that there's another spare room that was just filled with all this crap. And I had this little project. I set myself in like the first week. I think it must have been end of March last year or some shit like that when I first came up, and I gutted that room and I skipped everything I possibly could. But somehow, right, we're talking a room that you couldn't really fully open the door, right? You'd have to kind of squeeze your way in, and essentially just, I call garbage, was just piled up almost kind of eye level. Everything was just piled on top. I managed to shovel my way down right to the bottom of this detritus, and what I find at the bottom of it is a fully decomposed bird skeleton. I mean, it's completely dry. There's no organic material left on it. It's been completely devoured, and it's a complete fucking husk.
What do you mean when you say what I call garbage? That gave me like a window into like these extremely codependent men who have arguments about what garbage is. But what is it? What is that stuff? Like, it's not actually sacks of trash, right?
No. It's we're talking like old papers, paperwork, stuff like that. Well, predominantly I saw loads of old invoices and bills.
Well, you need them.
Magazines.
You're not throwing away your old invoices and bills, are you?
I mean, we're talking about stuff that's like 10 years old that my dad's never going to look at ever again.
I'll tell you something, Damien. If it makes you feel better, I couldn't produce you a single bill.
Sorry, I really thought I was under fire there for a second. Of course,
if I went around right now, if I walked around and got hit by a car and woke up and they were like, "Oh, you're okay, but what's your address?" I don't know if I could give them my address. I sort of know what street I live on. Like, I know where it is. I know how to get there. But
do you have a compass?
It's sort of like it's a very, it's complicated. Like, there's loads of numbers in it, and like sub-numbers and stuff, and it's like, where do I begin?
No, well, that's. I have to be honest. That's a relief because.
So maybe if I ever need a bill, I could borrow some of yours or something.
Well, yes, but it might also state you're in terrible debt.
Well,
no, it wasn't that bad. That wasn't bad. But there was loads of kind of crap like that and things that kind of looked like bills. But these were things that were just kind of put in a corner, basically. So there was a lot of that, an unsurprising amount of paperwork like that. We're talking old magazines, old furniture, bed sheets, linens, stuff like that were never going to be used ever again. And then there's also a lot. I mean, the stuff that I could legitimately point to and say was garbage was like loads of my old schoolwork and old folders and stuff from college and things like that.
Why wouldn't you want to keep that?
Well, there was a point I clearly did at one point. It's like, maybe I would like to look back on this at some point, and I just went in there. It's like, I'm not even going to open that. That could just go on the bonfire.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy.
Yeah, you're not going to feel anything but shame when you open that.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we happened to, like, years and years ago, we happened to be like looking through an old notebook of yours, and it was from like when you were from like 8, and you had drawn the Starship Enterprise, the Next Generation.
Oh yeah.
And like neither of us said anything, but we both looked at it and were like disgusted by it. And it was actually like for an 8-year-old, it was actually
10 years old.
It was actually like really well drawn, but even then, it's God.
Yeah, I think the only thing I've kept is. Yeah, the only thing I think I've probably got somewhere is my physics book and my chemistry book,
yes.
which have some famous doodles
of penises. Some very, very, carefully.
I could draw a mean penis as a teenager. I probably don't have what it takes now, but I had it going on back then.
I imagine it wouldn't be quite as, bursting with agony of youth that you obviously imparted on that in work. I mean, it was the best thing you've ever drawn.
Yes,
There was real meaning.
It was vascular.
I mean, it was like when you look at the front cover of a cycling magazine, and they're all there with like these like, I mean, like yes, impressive, but also like horrific veins. Like if I had veins like those guys, I wouldn't be able to stop touching them. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
Like have you ever had like you've ever been for like a run or anything? Perish the thought. Like you've ever had to run for the elevator, and you've like got like a big vein, and just like touching it and sort of moving the blood around is like fascinating and gross. It's sort of like having a loose tooth.
Yeah, I've totally done that. I've tried to like see how far I can push it, seeing if it will like kind of pop out of place or something. But then I realize that's not how it works. It's like, man, I'm past 30. I should be more mature than this. I shouldn't be conducting these experiments on my body. This is child stuff.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess.
But then I look in the mirror, and then it all makes sense, and I carry on.
I guess I just don't often have veins like that. So I guess the novelty, I'd get over it. Like if I was suddenly transformed into a woman, like breasts would be fascinating and everything, but I'd get over it. I'm sure it'd just be annoying after a while.
If I'm suddenly transformed into a woman.
Like if I woke up and it's like, oh no, I remember, I've been a woman all along. That whole thing was just a dream, where I was this knobhead. Oh, thank God.
Christina's appalled, Who the fuck is this?
And what would I? I'd get used to it. Have you ever had like a dream where in the dream you think that you wake up in the dream and then like your real life was a dream and you sort of accept that and like begin to move on? Like once I woke up, right, and I was still pretty young, and like in my mid-20s, I guess, and like I remember waking up and something happened in my mind, like the blood didn't flow to the right place or something, but like honestly, for about 6 or 7 seconds, I did not know who I was. I could not remember who I was or where I was. I knew what things were. I was like, okay, so I guess this is the bed I'm sleeping in, and this is the carpet. But I didn't know who I was or what I was. And bizarrely, when I remembered, I thought, oh, that's not that bad.
Oh, thank you for tying it off like that, because that was becoming filling me with existential dread. I was getting quite a bit of anxiety there. And now you kind of put a nice little bow on it like that. I think I might be able to go to bed tonight. Jesus.
Yeah, because I guess that I had the perspective during those few seconds of like, I honestly could not remember who I was, anything like that. It was like I had no personality, but I knew that there was such things, and I knew what the world was. I could remember, I knew that there was an outside and what it looked like and everything. It was just like I couldn't remember who I was. So I knew that there was this whole spectrum of what I could end up being, and I guess I was just happy not to be, I like in a war zone or something.
I guess so. Well, it's nice that you kind of reflect on your life as not that bad. I figured the story was going, oh man.
What the
Then
fuck?
I was looking for the razor blades.
Yeah.
As soon as I realised who I was. This shit again.
Well, we must have. I mean, we've depressed people. We must have. They can't. Should we just wrap it up?
All right, fine. We'll just say that we did plan on talking about doomsday preppers, and I knew that we were on to a winner when we were discussing this last week. It's like we couldn't access the same things from where we both are. You could, I couldn't. So I said I would look and see what I could find online, and I made almost no effort whatsoever. And it comes to the night before. And then the night before, you said, "All right, what I'll do is I'll send you some some episodes from here, and then we'll do it." And then the night before, you just text saying, "Fuck it, I'll just tell you what I've watched, and we'll make a meal out of it that way." I was like, "Right, okay, we've decided no one's making any effort whatsoever.
Yeah.
This will be great fun."
In the interest of integrity, I'll come out and say that is all true, and I stand by that because I watched Doomsday Preppers again with the Netflix. They removed the first 2 seasons, which got me into it, but I did have access, apparently from buying it, to the 3rd season. So I watched the 3rd season again, and the reason I didn't want to, I guess I would have to record it and send it to you, would be because that's piracy, Damien, and that's wrong. That's taking the money out of people's hands and mouths and children, and that's just not on, so I couldn't do it. So, we'll just have to have a shit podcast because we're too good of people to do that. And also, I couldn't be bothered. It was just like, I cannot be bothered to watch this bit again. Like, there was nothing about it that I really, especially was excited to tell you about. This is what happened with the GRS show, where we stopped having to do B movies because it was always the same thing. Like, what were they thinking? Yeah, so we nicely switched from Doomsday Preppers to Suicide, but I'm going to go ahead and get you back there by telling you about the first episode of the 3rd season, which is partly following the colony, and these people are preparing for Doomsday. I seem to remember that it's there's going to be a Doomsday because American society is going to completely break down to the point of roaming gangs of murdering rapists, because the politicians aren't doing anything about the debt, right? It's
naturally, yeah.
Yeah, that's how deeply it is explained, because all the people they follow have different beliefs. What was I saying?
You talk about Doomsday Preppers.
Talking about what? What's that?
First episode of season 3.
Was that the one where Daphne moves in full time? Oh, did you
Clive Roddy?
Did you see that episode of Kitchen Nightmares where Gordon goes mental?
Oh yes, the one with the idiot sandwich. Yes.
No, not that one. God,
that's the only one.
The one with the dirty food storage unit.
Is that the one where he's displeased?
Who? The man or the Ramsay, the chef?
the Ramsay. He says that this food is unsatisfactory. That's the one, right? Oh man, it feels like we're making. It feels like we're making even less effort than we did before. I quite like this. I don't know if anyone else is.
Do you remember the one?
That's got you.
Do you remember the one where he's like, "Oh, this food is absolutely fucking fantastic. The service was great and the atmosphere is wonderful. The bill's just about spot on as well. I can't fucking think of it." It's not like you need Ramsay. It's like you need a good look in the mirror, you fucking idiot. Because it's always like, why is the restaurant failing? Because you're serving slop.
Oh, fuck. That's giving me a headache.
Anyway, Doomsday Preppers. Yeah, it starts with the colony, and it's the same. Yeah, it's these Doomsday Preppers, and they're all sort of different people, and a guy owns a ranch, and he's the boss of this place, and it essentially comes across as dudes and their immediate, like 4 or 5 dudes and their immediate family, amounting to 25 people. And they're doing various things, like they're they're obviously doing things sort of for the camera, like showing them stuff, and they're sort of setting up defenses and, pickling shit. And there's a really good bit where they have an argument about these gallows that they're setting up, because this colony of 25 people is run by, I guess, the guy in charge of security who's dressed in combat fatigues, and is talking about, like, that's our last line of defense. Like, if people break the colony rules, we're going to have to string them up. And it's like, but we know, like it's only 25 people. Like, we know everyone in here. And they have an argument about it. Like, the other guy, the only guy who seems to have any sort of survival skill, he's, like, against it. He's the liberal one. He just wants to banish them if they break the rules. And it's all, like, it all comes across as sort of, like, this weird LARPing. Except, like, with LARPers, like, LARPers don't actually think they're wizards. And LARPers don't actually, like, try and co-opt their family into believing that they're wizards. Like, that's just, like, nerdy fun. This is, like, sort of like, it's like paranoid delusion with, like, a fun element of like, because like, I could really get behind building a bunker as, like, a hobby, like like if my neighbor was building a bunker and, like, this is my project, this is what I'm going to do over the next 2 years, do you want to help me, like, frame some stuff and, like, put some cement down? I'd be like, yeah, I'm totally into that. That sounds fun. How are we going to work out the ventilation, Dale? You thought about that? Thought about that? Yeah, I mean, and there's that element to it of people who are sort of, like, avid hobbyists. And obviously in the show they've picked, like, extreme examples, but they are very funny, stupid examples. Would you like me to go on?
Yes.
Do you have any questions so far?
What's the facial hair situation with some of these people? Is it? I'm imagining things that are kind of wild and unkempt.
Yeah, actually, okay. This is interesting. Let's do this. When I say doomsday prepper, describe physically and, in terms of attitude. What's a doomsday prepper to you? The physical manifestation.
I'm thinking kind of overweight, beer-bellied, kind of white trash.
Okay. So that would be like someone in, like, a check shirt, like, almost looks like a lumberjack.
Yeah. I mean, I could almost see something like a MAGA hat. Definitely a lot of denim.
Okay.
Leather, perhaps. They'll be wearing an animal.
And sort of, like, I guess then the attitude would be like, you're talking about, like, a sort of stereotype of a redneck, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, there definitely is that, but, like, I would say the majority no. Like, the majority seems to be, like, no facial hair, like, had a shave, like, a proper shave that morning at 5 a.m. before they went on their run, like, military haircut, like a, like, salmon-colored polo shirt, tucked into, like, beige knee-length shorts, and then, like, bronze and possibly vascular, like a cyclist's shins, and then possibly white socks, like, pulled up as high as they can go down to, like, white sneakers, or if they're a bit, like, out there for their type, like, orange sneakers, like running shoes, and that's what they're in all day. There is a lot of, I mean, they're just people, right? And they're all in it for different reasons. There's a lot of variance in that a good amount of them, especially, like, the serious ones who you think, like, could actually be dangerous, are sort of, like, ex-Marines and ex-Rangers and people who are otherwise, interested in the military and are, like, taking it seriously and have, like, co-opted their wife and their children, and they all have, like, these drills for, like, leaving the house immediately with pre-packed bags and getting into a car and going to a secret location and then getting in a hot air balloon and waiting for the winds to change and then getting into the Gulf Stream and traveling like 150 miles and then jumping out and then burying their parachutes and then unburying some scuba equipment and then going under the sea for a while, so they, also they can't be tracked, and then going back to where they started and like going back to their own basement, and like these very elaborate plans, and like to the point of like this is how to like clear a house of hostile people, and like basically sort of paramilitary stuff. But then you get like the people sort of like what you were describing, who were sort of, I guess, more country types. I mean, there are like rednecky sort of stereotypy people like where they're like clearly like clearly they're gonna go hunting with sticks of dynamite, right? And if I had dynamite I would too. But like there's a good example like in the second series of like two guys who are a bit sort of like country in that they sort of dress like that, and they've got like facial hair and stuff, but they come across as like really nice guys who have got it into their heads that they believe that the US currency is going to completely fail because it's not backed by the silver standard anymore. But they say like repeatedly like the chances are we'll meet you at the door and welcome you in if there's a crisis, and it comes across as genuine. Like they come across as like really nice. But their defense plan, if they ever get attacked, is their business is that they're like, I guess they're stonemasons. They have like big piles of rocks, and their plan is that if they ever get like stormed by marauders, they're going to roll rocks down onto them. No, not catapults. They're just going to roll rocks onto them. Yeah, assuming that that's what's going to happen. And it's like I say, it's all like LARPing in different ways. And like the best example is in the third season where there's like a big fat guy who, I mean, you can't, like it's almost offensive if I fucking do his voice. It's like he thought I'd speak like that. And he's like a big fat guy. Like he looks like the sort of guy who my grandma would have said something about, like back in my day they would have put him in the army and given him a trumpet. You know what I mean?
What?
like a bit sort of out there and very naive. And his plan for doomsday prepping, for surviving, was, I'm not going to bother prepping. I'm going to be the marauder. My plan for surviving is I'm going to take other people's shit. Like he explicitly says this. And then what he does is he makes his own body armor out of porcelain bathroom tiles and metal.
Oh,
metal.
What?
Yeah, and gets his cousin to shoot him in the chest with a shotgun at like point blank range on camera to do it. And it's essentially like he's got this enormous piece of metal like stuck in front of his gut. Like, of course it's bulletproof. It's like if you got a fucking iron girder and stuck it to your head and went like, look, it's a bulletproof helmet. Like, yeah, it is. You're an idiot. But there's all of this, and do you know what he calls himself? Do you know how he sees himself?
Oh, this is going to be good. Tell me.
He says, when the apocalypse comes, or when doomsday comes, in my local area, I will be the apex predator.
Oh, God. I was going to say Wolverine or something.
Like, I can just imagine, like, a crisis where it's not happened, it's not doomsday, but there's a massive, like, I don't know, like a huge hurricane or something. There's a massive disaster. He puts that shit on. He goes to the local fucking, like, Kmart to start looting it, and a cop just shoots him in the head. Because this armor was like, it was like a chest plate and a helmet. Mm-hmm. Like it was like normal armor. It wasn't like, I am now resistant to bullets. Like I am now resistant to bullets like on like 40% of my body.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is like this police officer just kind of goes into vats. Just takes out a leg,
and then you just get the camera follow the head rolling for like 300 shots.
You see an eyeball shoot out of the socket.
Oh no! How is the Supreme Court going to explain this? The cop has a constitutional right to taking the bloody mess perk, but it was a bit much.
It wasn't him. He missed. It was the mysterious stranger.
I didn't even need you, mysterious stranger. I had him. Yes, there's a good episode. It's probably I bet the most well known episode. It's the episode where it follows this guy who owns a obviously now disused Atlas missile silo, like out in the desert somewhere, and he's planning to convert it into a bunker for the end of days, and it follows him as he goes on 3 first dates with 3 different women. And it's the only time it ever does this. It ever follows anyone on dates or anything. It seems to follow him like especially close. And he has 3 dates with 3 different women, and he does this, Damien, all in the same night in the same restaurant. And like the whole like I have a bunker thing is like that's what he wants to talk about.
Oof.
That's what he wants to talk
well,
about.
Well, why buried the lead?
Oh yeah.
So
I mean,
the 3 dates.
It is like, like would you by the end of the date it's like he's getting to like, and like would you ever consider living in a bunker with me and trying to repopulate humanity, repopulate the city, It is man. Pretty, yeah. I mean, it's never that explicit, but it is like, would you live down here with me?
It's the subtext, yeah. All right, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So you see the 3 dates, right?
Yeah.
Do you see their faces at all?
Yeah.
Are they blurred?
No, you see their faces. Yeah, you see you get to know all 3, and
do they have like talking heads sections in it?
Yep,
at all,
they
or...
do. Yep.
Okay.
And so 2 of the dates clearly think that this is weird, and have like no interest at all. Like just like okay. And that you can see like when he's talking about it, you can see like they're hoping he's going to say like, and I'm going to make it into an Airbnb and rent it out, and like that would save it, right? Like, oh God, but no, you actually are someone who thinks they're going to live in here. And then there's one woman who's like kind of like into it. She's like interested, and she's like an ex-army nurse. And he is not interested in her because she's a bit fat.
What a cunt.
Yeah. And like they have bits where they've filmed him like going through, I guess whatever it is, Match.com, and he's like going through and going like, she's a bit too fat. No, she's a bit too fat. It's like, dude, the guy like is sort of like half bragging half the time that he hasn't had a girlfriend. And by that, I think he means sex, in 6 years.
Well, you can't blame the guy for, cutting out the chubbies, because he's looking for, like, good breeding stock. He wants to repopulate the earth. So, whoever this woman is going to be, she has to be an absolutely exemplary physical sample.
But
he deserves the best. He's taking on... a very important mission to kind of preserve the heritage of our species.
So anyway, after meeting these three women,
rightfully ignored. All right, so were the 3 dates kind of simultaneous? Because I want to see. I want to imagine this.
I was thinking about this, right? Because I watched it a couple of times, but I haven't watched this one recently because Netflix used to have that series. They don't anymore, and I am not spending any more money on Doomsday Preppers. And yeah, especially for a season I've seen. So see, it's the podcast that just doesn't care. So I was trying to work it out. Like, does he? It's all at the same restaurant, and I'm pretty sure it's at the same table. So does he like meet the first one and say to her, like, I'm just going to get a starter. And then, like, the second one he eats dinner with, and then the third one he's like, you order what you want, I'm just going to get a dessert. Or is he eating, like, a whole, like, 3-course meal every time?
Oh, I mean, you tell me, was he a chunky
No,
monkey?
he wasn't, no. Was he a chunky monkey?
I'm just trying to
There are
find
no monkeys
a
involved.
polite way of saying...
Are you following? I'm talking about a prepper man. A man, Damien. A man.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm getting my wires crossed. I'm thinking, you know, as soon as we've got all this apocalypse talk, I'm thinking Planet of the Apes, mate. I'm sorry.
He was deciding which ape to fuck.
Caesar, obviously.
Are there any apes around here that look like Helena Bonham Carter?
Caesar looks like he could keep a secret.
Caesar looks like he knows the value of reciprocity.
Oh, damn. See, it's those opposable thumbs, you see. Woof.
Imposable. I'm all right, fellas. You're tuning in to dickhead.com FM /boisterous. Yeah, so out of the 3 dates, right, logically, if one of those dates is receptive to your really cool, you know, very extreme lifestyle choices, very rare, really, surely that's the one you pick. But no, he picks the first girl who's like, what the fuck? And she's clearly, like, just interested, I guess. Maybe she wants to be on TV, I don't know, but she's not into him. And he takes her on a date, and he puts a blindfold on her so she doesn't know where she's going, so she can't compromise his security, even though I'm pretty sure you could just fucking look up where this thing is, because it's an Atlas missile silo. Like, it's, you know...
And it's on camera as well, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, he hasn't done anything to this thing. It's just a dilapidated structure, so it's, like, full of graffiti and stuff, you know, so people know it's there. So anyway, he blindfolds her, takes her there, and then shows her around, and, like, he's owned it for about 4 years, and he's done nothing to it. He got there on day one with, like, a 24-pack and a generator, and he hooked up the generator, and he emptied the 24-pack. And that's, you know, he doesn't live there. He lives somewhere else. But he took her here to this complete, like, it's like taking her to, like, an old car park, a parking lot that you own.
Oh, be fair. I'm sure the man had arranged some kind of mood lighting for his date, and possibly like a Yankee candle, you know, putting on the Ritz, man.
Oh, does this
got a lady coming?
Punk smell of sandalwood? Coming around. There's a bit where he says to her, "Do you want some water?" And she's like, "No." He's like, "I'll get you some water." And then he abseils down the tube of this Atlas missile bunker, because he has down at the bottom of this about 3 million cubic liters of rainwater. And he, like, brings her up like an Evian, like a fucking Dr. Pepper can of water, and then, like, pumps it through a charcoal pump and gives it to her. Like, oh, great. Thanks, yeah.
Nice,
this won't kill me, great. That's all I wanted. Yeah. I guess I should qualify all this by saying I watched it during the lockdown, and I thought it would be fun to talk about on the podcast, but then watching it back again, I was like, oh, this is depressing as shit. Jesus. All these people who are like, yep, what's going to happen is the banks are going to fold, and then tomorrow roads won't exist. And the only thing that will exist are, like, roving bands of city people who are leaving, you know, all the warehouses full of fucking tinned peas in the city to come and get my homemade pickles.
Pickles are hot shit, man. I definitely kind of, I'd find that stuff if I was in that position. Jesus.
Yeah. Pickles. I mean, that is an element of it where it's like, it's sort of like people who are like, I think there might be a comet that luckily hits the other side of the Earth, so I'm going to start pickling. And it's just like an excuse to, like, pickle. I'm into pickling, but no, no one's going to buy this. Like, I'm a beginner, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just want to start pickling.
Oh, I mean, it's all right. I mean, me trying to make light of it, but there was a point where I was really interested in pickling. Legitimately, I have a book somewhere that has like fucking hundreds of pickle recipes in it, and I thought I was gonna fucking barrel through it at one point.
Yeah, we know all about that book, Damien. You made a whole episode or two about it last time.
Did I?
Yes, about things that you can pickle with, your man sauce and everything.
Oh, fuck you know. With my pickle.
Don't act coy. Do you not remember? You own that book?
Oh no, not that one.
The cum book. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about pickling things with cum.
I started again. Let's just say it was the cum book, because I think at this point now, digging myself a hole, I really was quite a legitimate pickle enthusiast at one point in the last 6 years.
I mean, it's not like I wouldn't say I'm an enthusiast. I mean, I'm all for it. I wouldn't press a button that meant it couldn't exist.
No, I was going to have all my homemade stuff. I was going to slap labels with my fucking face on it. Everything. That was going to be my empire.
What would you call it? Dr. Damien's Bad News. Super hot pickles.
I like Bad News pickles. That's not bad. Or, the friendly pickle I thought would be good.
How about this? How about Dr. Damien's and then just like in massive red font, regrets. And it's just like these bright red pickles.
I was going to say mother's favourites.
I think we're going down very different avenues here. It sounds like you want a milky pickle. You want a strong pickle. Like I don't like with gherkins. I've never been into gherkins because it's just, what is this shit? I want either like whoa or the pickled onion end.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of but I want heat.
Oh, so what about pickled chilies then?
And thus the conversation has ended.
Yeah.
Press select, move on. Next NPC. Have you been playing a lot of Skyrim?
No, I abandoned that shit. I realised that as much as fun as I was having with this playthrough, watching just how buggy it is, it got to a point where it was just unmanageable. It was. I did Howl for the first, dozen hours, and then after that, when I was just locked in the kind of, just the kind of hoarding kind of behaviour of and micromanaging for fucking days on end.
It just became your father, the video game.
Absolutely. But at least my virtual houses were more organised.
You can become a vampire or a wizard, but Damien just becomes a proud homeowner.
Something I could never do in real life, which is why I know it's fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that sort of did cheer me up in terms of lots of not Schadenfreude, because it's not like I even really had it out for them or anything, but the whole cyberpunk thing sort of brought a smile to my face. Not even like I wanted it to be unsuccessful. It was just very funny, I guess. Nothing to add to that?
Well, I'm just reaching. Just give me 2 seconds. So what? They basically shipped it unfinished. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. I'm just kind of collapsing at this point.
Are you tired?
Yeah, I am tired, but I'm just. I mean, I haven't. I'm just kind of remembering what this was like, and I guess I'm obviously a little out of shape.
No, it was always like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He said so begrudgingly. You wanted to do it again.
Yeah, but I wanted it to be better.
I think you might have to remove this co-host, I'm afraid, if that's what you want.
Because I have no plans on getting any better. Yeah. Well, do you have any what happened to you, Damien, over the last year? Is there anything?
Oh, man.
Moved out, had a breakdown. You had a breakdown? You talk about that. Talk about the breakdown.
What breakdown? No.
What do you mean, what breakdown?
No, my mental health is always as it was, which is immaculate. And I won't have anyone tell me otherwise.
Okay. Well then, that's good. Are you enjoying living, with your dad? I don't think you'd ever finish the fascinating tale about how the toilets don't work.
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay, it's another... Yeah, this is the bit that really fucking gets me. So yeah, the three toilets, 2 are out of commission. One that is broken is my toilet, which is the bathroom just across the hall from me. The pump's gone on it. So for a long time I was taking the lid off the cistern to kind of work the ball cock and pump that water through manually. But apparently not even the ball cock works now.
So it's just a bucket job, is it?
Yeah, so it is a bucket job.
Is that the bucket you used?
I was so proud
to wash yourselves with as well.
Well, it would have been before we got the boiler fixed. Yeah, I go to the well to get slightly warmer water, and probably crisper and more sanitary.
I don't know. I think the well's walls need grouting, dude. There's got to be a lot of fucking. Well, there's got to be a lot of piss and shit in the soil around where you live.
Yeah, courtesy these fucking animals that I live with.
Yes. Yeah.
Dear.
So,
and so it is a bucket job, but that was all a learning curve for me. I didn't. It took a few passes before I got the right angle to actually pour the bucket into the toilet that would exert enough force to push all the matter through the U-bend and to not
splash you in the face.
any undesirable splash plate, because on my first attempt, I suppose the best way to put it is I ended up eating my own shit as it flew up in a nice globule that flew straight up into my fucking mouth.
Oh my god! I can't believe you were sitting on that. Tell us about that. What was that like?
All I know is that toilet water that was really quite brown shot up into my mouth.
I understand. I get that, but what did it taste like? Come on, get to the taste. What did it taste like? Did it taste bad?
I couldn't tell. I convulsed so instantaneously and violently with and had my head under the tap for fucking God knows how long. It was all a fucking blur. I can only presume that such a wretched reaction it could means it could only have been absolutely fucking foul. This must have been. This was just as I moved back up here as well. I thought, this perfectly sets the tone for lockdown. I said the world seems to be falling apart, and this is how I'm going to be like fucking pumping my waist down the fucking U-band. And already it's gone fucking tits up. Dread to think where I'll be in a month's time.
And that was what, like 9 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, last March, some shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Longer then, yeah. Yep.
So what I've taken to doing now is minimizing the risk, George. And then this is how I know I'm becoming my old man, because what I do now is I'll just do it once a week. I'll put a plastic bag over my head, wait till the water is black, and make a right go of it.
Oh my god, I remember. Oh my god, I remember when I moved into student halls. There was this kid I knew whose toilet blocked up, and like management where it was just did not give a shit. There was like loads of stuff to do, and it was just like so blocked. And there was like a party in his kitchen, and I went to use his toilet, and like I had to piss in the sink because my piss would have like possibly sent this thing over the lip.
Oh
like,
God almighty.
And it was just like solid shit. I said to him like, "What the fuck is that? Like what happened? Like did this dredge stuff up? Because there's more than like one shit there." And he said, "No, I've been shitting on shit." And I'll never forget that. And it's like I couldn't blame him. Like he didn't know what to do, but like, oh my god. Oh, just
I imagine it smelt like that toilet water tasted.
Oh man, yeah, that's horrendous. But I do like the idea of you putting like on not just a bag, it's like a Safeway bag, like that hasn't been manufactured in like 20 years. Well, it's like there's a room in your house that's just full of like plastic supermarket bags.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly remember what house this is. I guarantee you, if it's not Safeway, it'll be Summerfield or something like that. They will be here somewhere.
You just gotta make sure that the bags don't have like all like aren't full of dead bees. Bees?
I'll take that risk. No, it's wasps in this house. We don't get bees.
Yeah, the bees have abandoned it.
Yes, well, we did used to have a lot of bees in the garden,
That's
but
nice.
My dad was.
Everybody likes a nice bee, don't they?
Yeah, my dad loves them. He used to do this thing called bee stroking, and then they didn't come back anymore.
What is that?
It's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah, I just see it's a man with like a massive leather cuff and like this huge like landing strip that is like the length of his entire forearm for this bee that comes in, and then it's like basically like the man's forearm is like a falconer's aircraft carrier, falconer's forearm as an aircraft carrier for the bee. And the bee like lands and like trots a bit as it slows down, and then like does a little loop at the end, and then takes off again.
Yes, and he's got this beautifully embroidered hood for the bee as well that he uses to put it to sleep. Absolutely wonderful. No, it's just, but he'd just go out there and he'd go out there and he'd pet them like dogs, albeit not with the full palm.
Like dogs.
Yeah, just with one finger. And that was it. Bee stroking.
How do you get close enough to it? Like bees don't stay still enough to do that, do they? Oh, they must do.
Some of them. We actually had like nice plants out in the garden. They would obviously just be there collecting the pollen, but they'd stick around long enough for my dad to kind of molest them.
And they never came back. He drove them off. The word got out. Oh, be careful. The guy who owns that place is handsy.
Oh, it's that, or the dogs that we have now are probably out there just fucking eating them.
Just eat the bee.
We've got like a boxing dog here, and we just assume that the jowly face is just like it's something from the breed. No, I think it's just she's got an incredibly swollen face. She's actually just a regular dog.
Yeah, just makes a meal out of bees every morning for breakfast, along with some nice rat milk.
Oh.
Oh, well. Good. What were we talking about? I cannot remember for the life of me. Bees?
Pickles and Suicide. That's the name of my band, by the way.
I thought your band was called Mercy Flush. That's the name of the band in Woody Woodpecker, isn't it? I suppose we could talk about Woody Woodpecker, Damien, because we never did, and I know you loved it so much.
Oh, I've forgotten most of it. Are you sure? I mean, I'd actually have to sit down and watch it.
I guess now...
I said I was waiting.
Now is a good a time as any, now that we're well and truly into it, to sort of say that with the GRS show, we actually did quite a long podcast on Twisted Pair, the last Breen movie that came out. I think it came out quite a while ago now, in 2018.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we delved deep, but I definitely got Breen poisoning. And yeah, it sort of, I don't know, it killed things for me a bit. Like, I don't want to ever talk about that shit ever again. He can fuck right off. What a load of crap. But I do want to talk about Woody Woodpecker.
You want to do this today?
Fine. SEAL Team 6.
Oh, I barely remember this stuff, to be totally honest. I mean, I don't really want to watch any of these movies again. What could I say?
Yeah, I know, right? Me neither. I did see on streaming somewhere the new Terminator movie. What is it? Terminator 6? Terminator 7? I don't know.
What the fucking deep
Terminator, the fucking
yeah, the fucking
Terminator, the fucking deep thing. What's it called? I don't know.
Dark Fate, or I think.
Is that what it's called? Dark Fate? Is there not a Batman called Dark Fate? I mean,
if not already, then shortly by the end of this year, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I watched that, and it has Arnold in it. And for the 8 minutes that Arnold was talking, it was good. I liked it. He's really good. I wish they'd done a Terminator movie with him once. Oh, they did, so no need to make any more.
It's almost as though you should be writing professionally film critiques, because this is fucking slamming. Very insightful.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, it's well lit. Yeah, have you seen anything?
No, I've been watching total fucking trash. Anything I saw recently of any kind of note was Ancient Aliens, but then again, that shit's been out for a fucking decade now, so true Damien fashion, I'm well too late to the fucking punch on that one.
Aliens? You mean the film from the 80s?
Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, with fucking... what's his name now? George Tsoukalos, I think his name is. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But the guy was fucking over mean for the last decade. You said you've seen that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was quite eye-opening for me. We've talked about some of that stuff before, these kind of UFO documentaries and ufologists and all that kind of stuff. This one was depressing, knowing that some of these people are alive, but it was kind of fascinating just how much they were trying, the things that they would attribute to ancient astronauts and what have you. And you can definitely tell that the showrunner had really not planned this shit out. They were obviously told to fill 18 episodes. And the first few, they talk a lot about religions and certain and various mythologies. And all right, these people who obviously kind of reach for a living, have put together a fiction that is quite intricate. And the things they point to are kind of interesting in a sort of all right, fine kind of way, but they just fucking run out of steam halfway through, and the stuff they point to is just absolutely fucking fascinating. There's one episode where they're trying to say that ancient aliens essentially invented America. They were talking about it's Thomas Jefferson or Ben Franklin or something like that, and because they were Freemasons, and Freemasons are basically a secret society dedicated protecting the secret of
masonry.
Well, not according to these guys. They've been in touch with these aliens all along, and that's the closely guarded secret to a society. And
when you say they built America, you mean like the modern nation, not like they like terraformed the Earth.
Oh yeah, no. We're talking about the modern nation, and they were talking about. They spent a lot of time talking about the I forget either Jefferson or Franklin. I can't remember. All the contributions that he had made, and they were saying it was to do with intervention, a la the Freemasons' secret like services and stuff like that. That he was actually being communicated with by these aliens. So all of the contributions that he made were not actually of his own graft, but actually essentially, intervention from
the aliens.
Yeah, gifts. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And all right, that was terrible. But I think it's the penultimate episode where they talk about cults, and this was reaching so far that it was exploitative to a point that I felt kind of unclean watching it, because they just talk about every kind of suicide cult of like the last 50 years basically, and they start kind of elaborating on, well, these guys were essentially mentally unhinged and this, that, and the other, and they start talking about, well, schizophrenia is when if you something's going on in the brain, this, that, and the other, but sometimes that when people are hearing voices inside their head, it's because they're actually being reached by these aliens. And after a point, they're talking about these horrific people that led people, dozens and dozens of people to the fucking slaughter, and they're kind of trying to write off the fact that they're not fucking insane by saying that they were by the logic of they were talking to aliens, which, oh man, it was just fucking vile. And so, I know you're trying to kind of say these guys are like the ancient aliens are like responsible for this, that, and the other, and you're trying to gather together as much as you can to kind of really validate these theories, but to kind of bring stuff like that in, it's fucking ridiculous. Because each episode's like 45 minutes, and once they've done the setup of 10 minutes, they just talk about the exploits of these fucking murderous cunts.
Right.
So they basically just pour at it like a cat with a ball of yarn, and and that's it for like the alien part of the show. The rest was just talking about these horrible people. So, man, why don't you just kind of say, well, it's just going to be a 17 episode run? How about that? Just cut one out, because there's nothing here. I mean, everything you produce up until this point has been fucking dross, but can you not see how this is fucking unclean?
Well,
if you want to...
leaving that aside, though, what do they say about, like, so aliens built the pyramids then? Is that it?
Absolutely.
And why didn't they use, like a bonding agent? Yeah. Because I'll tell you what, like, if you give me the pyramids right now, they would look a lot better after 5,000-6,000 years than they do now. Like, all that gleam's gone. They were meant to be like these lovely, smooth, sandy triangles in the desert, but they look like crap now.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, this is how I know it's bullshit, George. These aliens, so smart, made it out of sand. No, metal. That would last.
It out of metal or glass.
Yeah, they got the technology.
Why aren't there any escalators?
Yeah. See, it doesn't add up.
But do they address that? Like, why? Why would they limit themselves to such? I mean, not just primitive exactly. Like, why would they limit themselves to gifting mankind? Things that aren't that far into the future. Like electricity. Like, it makes sense that it was discovered when it, and exploited when it was.
Oh, no.
I mean, was it like a caveman was like playing with like an oval and was about to make a circle, and then an alien came in and was like, no. Here it is. Here's a wheel. See, we fucking invented it. You didn't invent anything. Is it that?
I mean, that is exactly it. I mean, this show basically the prerequisite here is that the human race has
done nothing.
Was and has been absolutely hopeless this whole way. I mean, obviously they point to specific things a bit more modern, like religion and let's talk about masonry and all that kind of shit. But they do go so far to say is that any kind of evolution was basically shepherded by ancient aliens, and then it goes even further to say like, well, they probably seeded all genetic life on this planet anyway.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, of course.
But I mean, that's obviously, within the simulation that we're probably in, because we're probably in a simulation.
Yes, of course. Yeah. But you know who made that simulation? I'll tell you, aliens. Yeah, makes you think.
Who would it be if it wasn't aliens? It'd be like Mel Gibson. I've got this terrarium.
Put some brains in it. It'd be fine. Some electricity, But where did Mel Gibson get the electricity, George? I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Aliens.
That's right. Aliens. And then where did they come from? Yeah, I see what you're saying. God.
Yeah. So I've got you at every turn. Of course it's aliens. It can't be anything else.
I remember I had like a book once that I guess I took out of the library, and it was like a book for teenagers, and it was called something like The Beginner's Guide to Philosophy. And it had a picture in it next to the bit where it was talking about what was God doing before he invented the universe. And it just has a picture of him like sat in a lounger smoking a cigar. I love that idea.
I was going to say he has his dick in his hands, but yeah.
Isn't that how the ancient Egyptians thought the universe came to be? Like the universe was the masturbation or the cum of God.
I mean, I haven't heard that, but I can easily see how...
You haven't heard that on the streets? Not heard that. No one's giving you a nudge. You'd be like, you heard this? Ancient Egyptians believed that we're all cum. Oh yeah, well I have it that the Aramaic Jews, right? They've got this old folly, right? It's all about cartwheels.
Sure.
Don't do them on a Friday, innit? Because that is when the devil will see right up your dress. That's what it's about. Because that's why the sky's blue. Because what he's doing is he's beaming himself off. It's Project Blue Beam, you see. He's beaming himself off the sky. That's why when you're upside down, you can see,
No, well, it's because it's blue balls, you see, and these balls are so big, that's all you can see in the sky. That's where you get the term from, innit?
That's why the sky is blue, because it's a deity's balls. And they happen to be blue. They're so massive that it just gives the illusion of
an atmosphere.
All skin, all spread out. It's like, it's all super thin, like spread out, like just held up by the heat in the troposphere. It's like an enormous hot air balloon. It's so thin that it can stay up there. And that's why that's what the ozone layer is. It's just the thin ball skin of like I'm guessing like a sort of like a Shiva like Indian god, just to put some fucking sacrilege in there.
That is traumatic. Thank you very much for that image.
What's more offensive, can I say, for blue? It's Jesus' balls, but Jesus is dead because he died on the cross and never came back.
I think that's fine. I don't think people will get too upset about that. I think we can put that on a T-shirt.
I told you that's
easily.
what was in the Bible. When my dad was a kid, that's what was in the Bible, and then they changed it at some point in the 50s or 60s, so he comes back.
Oh, naturally, yes. I'm just going to agree to everything at this point. I'm sure you've told me before, but my memory's for shit.
I'm telling you, it's true.
And I'm agreeing with you. with
no doubt in your voice.
It's the safest. It's the safest option for me right now.
So yeah. So what's the moon then?
We could either say an unsightly, an unfortunate lump, or
well, no, because at night then is night just right. Okay, so night just occurs naturally. Okay, so the moon is just the moon. It's just that what we're saying is that the sky is blue because it's Jesus' bald skin, like pressed super thin around the earth to protect it from
Oh no!
harmful
See, at night, what
rays.
Jesus does is it ascends far, far, far above the planet, which is why the sky turns black, and we get the moon. But as day approaches, he slowly starts to descend back down onto the
Well,
planet.
that only makes sense if we have a flat Earth and he's coming down like his ball skin's like an enormous like magic carpet that he's standing on.
Well, yeah,
Or-
Earth is naturally
yeah.
flat. It used to be a globe, but it was carved to pieces. Do you know who by? Aliens. Yeah.
Is it really like that then, that show where everything is aliens?
Yes, absolutely, it really is. It's absolutely bewildering. I can't really recommend someone investing, a good 16 hours of watching that stuff. But I was kind of pleased that I'd been on that journey. Once I was done, I was also very relieved that it was over, knowing that I was never going to go back to anything like that again. At least not that specific show. I'm sure I'll get the urge to kind of look at these nutcases again at some point. But I've got my fix for a good few months.
Oh yes, you don't fancy going down the Bob Lazar lane? Oh.
No, I think the Bob Lazar stuff was fine. I saw one. I think it was called Behind the Curve.
Oh yes, you told me about that.
Yeah, did I tell you? Was it what was on a podcast, or was it just?
No, tell me.
Yeah, it was a flat earther thing, and
Damien, you can't prove that the Earth isn't flat.
of course not. No. It's not like we've left the atmosphere or
think
anything.
about it, right?
Seen...
If I drop something, it goes down. Okay, so why if I'm standing on Australia, am I going up? Seriously, think about that.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do some research here because I was gonna shit on these people.
You do that.
but
I'm gonna
now
drink
I
some
think,
more brain juice. Or what I don't get, I don't get though is like, the Earth is flat, but then is everything else flat and it's just facing us? Like, is the moon also flat but just facing us?
Essentially,
and
yeah.
Landlocked.
It's got it has an interesting section in it, and I use that word in its broadest definition there, where you have these flat earthers that are making globes, essentially, which are obviously these massive disc things, but they.
Oh, I see.
They
Okay, right. I thought you meant making globes, and I thought you were going to say, and then they're beating them and they're full of candy, like a globe pinata. Like they fucking hate globes.
Sure.
It's a conspiracy by the globe salespeople. I've heard that. The people who sell globes.
Oh dear.
Like the map industry just wasn't juicy enough. We've got to sell people some fucking 3D stuff. Anyway, go on. Yes, they're making globes. By globes, you mean they're making flat.
Well, they basically have this basically a map, but they have a glass dome on it, and they have essentially the continents as we know them laid out, but essentially have this huge fucking plateau, these sheer cliff faces that kind of encircle everything, and they have various different kind of rigs for what the sun and the moon are in correlation with the planet. It's kind of bizarre, and they just I think in some of these models, I think that the sun is supposed to be the equivalent size of the moon.
Yes,
it's fucking bizarre. There are various models of them, and they don't seem to agree on what is the correct kind of idea. And
they have also some models that contradict each other, basically.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, the actual. It's surprising that some of the craftsmanship was kind of up there. It's it's interesting seeing that people clearly have, with some kind of the wherewithal to refine a skill, that are making and believing in such bullshit. But I mean, seeing their interpretations of it kind of manifest are interesting. But some of the other people in it are some of the most vile people I've seen in quite some time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. These people that are.
Now, do you think going into this, Damien, we should, re-establish that you do have a prejudice against fat people?
They weren't fat, actually. That's
Okay.
They were flat.
Italians?
No,
Right. Okay.
no, no, no.
Right, okay. I'm trying to remember if you have any other prejudices. Um,
They set up like a romance story in this kind of documentary between essentially two flat Earth podcasters that got together and kind of hooked up, and they in and of themselves they show that each other's lives, and they're all kind of disgusting people.
well, why? What do you mean by disgusting?
Well, one of them was like this kind of new age Earth Mother vegan kind of crazy cat lady,
Okay.
who was just well, I mean, I'm not into any of that kind of stuff anyway,
I can
but this
tell.
person was far too fucking self-righteous and kind of headstrong about it, which was just, I mean, you see a lot of people that believe in this stuff, and you can see they're kind of like jaded, kind of socially awkward, kind of outsidery type people, and you kind of almost let them off the hook for that. But this person was really acting as well, assuming this kind of veneer that she was just really well adjusted and kind of intellectual, and it was an appalling confidence about her. They actually, once they kind of got the romance subplot underway, they show these two going to, I think it's like Cape Canaveral.
Well, tell me more about her before you get onto that. Like, I mean, you say there's a confidence about her. Is it really a lack of confidence that's manifesting as confidence? I mean,
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way that you kind of fall into this.
Yeah.
This kind of, I mean, it definitely was a lifestyle, because they'd shown that she'd been doing this. It was essentially like a solo kind of podcast or kind of live stream kind of thing
That sounds like a
for
good
years,
idea.
just by a. If you say so. I won't be present for that.
No, it's just you.
Oh God.
That's what everyone else just said. Oh no, you didn't. Oh yes, you did.
It's just 2 hours of the sound of me scratching my balls and occasionally belching.
And they're very dry. I mean, it's really sharp.
Oh,
It's
cool.
not even a comfortable like ASMR. Like, listen to me butter these grapes.
Butter my raisins.
Is that what people listen to with ASMR? I imagine it is. Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Even ASMR?
Yeah.
What's that?
That's
What's
right.
that stand for, Damien?
I knew it once. I don't know it anymore.
A similitude. A similar.
Yeah, Assmeyer, I think.
Ass, mister.
Assmaster.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, or I've come across, like hour-long videos of people like touching their own beard and things, and yeah, I don't get it.
No, it's weird seeing so much of it on YouTube when I discovered that was a thing, because I can't. Some people say they do it for relaxation, but when I came across it, Netflix was pimping some kind of new mini-series that they were doing on kind of like outside cultures and stuff like that. I can't remember what it was called.
Weirdos.
The first thing, basically,
Here are some weirdos.
but the first section of this clip was this girl doing ASMR stuff, and they, I mean, the first kind of talking head they had in this kind of clip was basically saying it's porn basically, and it's weird that it's still so prevalent on YouTube when it's like, I mean, it's highly kind of. I can see how a lot of people find that very, very sexual.
It's porn. Really? I mean, I can see how there is that, but like, what? All of it's porn.
Oh yeah, for some, not all of it, no, but I think a great deal of it is, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen a lot. Yeah, there are girls that do it, and I've seen they've had these mics that are the shape of human ears, and they just basically fillet that for like half an hour. I mean, there's no way that people doing that for just relaxation.
I see.
It's spanking material. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Let me just jot that down.
Well, I've got some links. I'll send them to you.
Oh no, that would be horrendous. If I did that and like you'd commented as well.
Well, no. What it does is it sends you straight to like where I left off, so you know exactly when the vinegar strokes were.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. It's like when you hear about like, you know, so and so is a PhD professor who got involved in sex studies at somewhere, and then you know everything was going well, and then like 4 years ago he invented a blowjob machine, and here it is for $400, and it does this, and this. It's like I don't know how to feel about that. Like that's weird. I mean, if people want to do it, that's that's up to them. But fuck, that's weird.
You say that? I think it sounds pretty hot to me. I think you're just too uptight.
I'm not saying it's not hot or anything. I'm more saying like
it's fucking sexy.
I'm
man.
more saying like what does that reflect about society? I guess like I'm not even saying it's like a bad thing. I'm just saying there is something strange about it. I can't put my finger on what it is.
Oh yes, I know where you're coming from. Yeah,
I guess it's like a sort of a weird shift to, autoeroticism. Doing it by yourself. It seems like. What would you say about that?
I don't. I mean, yeah, I don't think that's anything new, though. I mean, it's just kind of. I suppose it's just the evolution of people masturbating, really.
Yeah,
I guess people get bored.
I agree. I don't think it's anything new either. I just think that what is new is that it wasn't very long ago, certainly not in terms of human history, where no pornography existed, and you would just have to I guess lay in the hay and have a wank and think about something.
Lay in the hay.
Whatever.
Like it was suddenly fucking ancient.
Yeah,
it all happened at once.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that there's something happening there.
I suppose so, but I'm just not sort of sure how sudden. I'm not an aficionado, despite what anyone may say. But I know, like, things like the hysteria machines have been around for fucking God knows how long. Well beyond the kind of advent of kind of porn as we know it. But I guess, obviously, I don't doubt that what you're saying is true, that it obviously is fucking exploded. It is growing and evolving exponentially at this point.
Well, no, I wasn't saying like that. I mean, just, I'd never heard of... I knew what ASMR was, but to me, like, it was just like... I always thought it was essentially just sounds to go to sleep to, and whereas I would choose to do that to like a storm, some weird people were choosing it to be like the sound of a beard rustling. I didn't think that was sexual, but now you're saying it, and now you're telling me these things about like filleting an ear. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that makes sense that that's what it's about. So I got the impression it was like there was something for anyone. Like it was like, here's a washing machine for an hour. But is that not ASMR? Am I misunderstanding?
No, that's just that's kind of, that'll be like white noise.
Oh,
stuff.
So ASMR is Ass Master that's when someone's speaking, is it?
No, it's something that's done very close to a microphone. So it's. I suppose it appears in the headphones like very close and very intimate, and yeah, I think the actual acronym is kind of, though I don't know what it is kind of elaborates on a function in the brain why it's supposed to be kind of like relaxing and pleasing at the same time, where people are kind of latching onto it.
Autonomous sensory meridian response.
There you go.
Is a tingling sensation that typically begins on the scalp and moves down the back of the neck and upper spine. Oh, okay, so it's like crack an egg on the back of your head, let it run down the back of your neck.
That's a thing, is it?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
I kind of want to do it now.
So what? How did we get onto that, Master?
I have no idea. We were talking about Behind the Curve and how we got onto...
Yes, Behind the Curve, yes. So this woman, that is horrible because she's a vegan and you hate vegans.
That's right.
She's vile, and then her boyfriend that the documentary is also following, he's vile.
But he's not vile. I really did not like this woman at all. But he was just kind of just kind of an outcast bloke.
So was the women, isn't it, Damien?
It's always
Skylar, do you remember that? Poor Skylar, Damien.
You were right behind me when it came to Skylar. You fucking know it.
Yeah, but not because she was a woman.
Because she was shit.
Yeah, because she was a dickhead, yeah. No.
I believe that was my rationale as well. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, because you also hated...
I'm not a monster.
You also hated Marie. Marie!
She was also shit. She kept giving Hank fucking grief, and Hank was the man. We both agreed on that.
We both agreed on that, I agree. Hank was the man. You are not the guy. My name is Isaac Schrader.
His name is Hank. Isaac Schrader.
Willy Wonka? So the man, he's alright.
Yeah, so he was basically, for a while amongst the community, he was kind of like the figurehead for a lot of like flat earth campaigning and what have you. So he was invited on to a show, and that's how they kind of met, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they followed this all for a long time. And, you know, it follows his story about how he's been advocating this, that, and the other. And there's a point, as you see, he's quite comfortable in this relationship now. He's obviously not a lonely guy anymore, and they kind of catch him kind of saying that he's not totally sure anymore. Now that he's not this fucking lonely outcast anymore, he's not clinging to those beliefs anymore. But you know, he was kind of saying, "Well, what do I do?" You know, he's kind of stuck, having to keep championing this fucking bullshit, even though he has considerable doubts now.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And then the Pope
it's
said
not
to
quite...
him, just fake it. I mean, that's got to be something a lot of people have experienced over the years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't... I'm absolutely sure. I mean, surely these people must go in phases, but...
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I don't think he'll have come out and saying that he doesn't believe it. I think he'll have kept himself trapped.
Yeah, a lot of it is sad, really, isn't it? Like, you know, going back through Doomsday Preppers, I felt like a lot of that was sad.
Yeah, well, I imagine these people are obviously quite jaded and on the outside, and they're just clinging to whatever they can, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, imagine living life like that, like just waiting for Doomsday.
That's kind of it kind of feels like it at the moment, to be perfectly honest. I can get behind that. I imagine those guys are having a fucking field day this last year.
No, because it's not like that. It's not Doomsday. We're just waiting to be able to go back outside again.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, this is the reality of what a crisis is, right? Is it, you know, it's not like marauding people everywhere at all times and the government loses control. It's just like, yeah, we have to, like, it's not bad enough to, like, start eating the fucking neighbours. It's just bad enough that we have to suck it up. I don't know. How has coronavirus affected you? You've had it, right? Oh yeah, Damien.
Yes, I have.
Damien,
yeah, I did have coronavirus.
I wish Damien a happy Christmas, and he sent me back on Christmas Eve just the screenshot of his NHS alert that said, "Dear Damien Benedict, Happy Christmas. You have coronavirus. You must isolate by law."
Yeah, it was thoroughly fucking delightful.
Do not dare go outside, you motherfucker.
Yeah, well, it was my fault for going back to work for those fucking 10 days that they tried to open up London.
Did you have a choice?
I mean, technically you always have a choice. I mean, I could have just fucked the job off, but
Well,
I'm not
okay,
quite sure
yes,
how...
I know you're not indentured. I know that, but I mean, if you would have said I'm not coming back because it's not safe, would they have fired you?
I mean, technically, I have the right to have say no. I would still, get my, I think, basic kind of furlough. But I don't know of anyone that's kind of exercised that. I wouldn't really know how that would play out, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd move to kind of get rid of me.
Right.
If that were the case. I know. Yeah, technically, I think the law is supposed to be on my side, and if you're kind of worried, particularly when the place where I worked, with their fucking goings on, their kind of the social distancing they did not do. It's kind of it's reasonable to assume that some people will be worried about going back, and they might want to stay away. But I wasn't sure, and I was only just getting back on an even financial keel, and I just didn't want to rock that boat.
Mm-hmm. By the way, for any new listeners, Damien is a chef, and he hates kitchens and food.
Yes, yeah. Completely dead to me now.
I mean, not just dead, but agonizing. Surely, the way you talk, it's like every step is a new nightmare, and I don't doubt it. Even I don't think you're exaggerating.
Yeah, no, it is true. I've definitely fallen out of love with the career, but in this place that was supposed to be just a placeholder, while I found a job that I liked, I was only anticipating to work there for 4 months. Obviously, this lockdown has kept me locked into it for much longer than I've ever cared to do. So, granted, I've only really worked like 3 or 4 months last year. But every day I went into that place, it's just a place that's fucking caked in shit, and they don't give a flying fuck. They didn't give a fuck.
You're not going to get in trouble, are you?
Now. If I named the company, I'm sure I would, but I guess I will leave the name out.
But I mean, people from there listen to this, right?
No, not from there.
Oh,
No,
okay.
No one from that place knows anything about me.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, I've made very little effort to kind of get to know them, and what I have told them is arguably kind of untrue or open to interpretation. Don't tell them fuck all.
Damien, I don't know why, but I think that I want to nerd this up by saying that, listening to you now, if I was going to invent a Dungeons and Dragons class for you, it would be Flagellant Monk.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. What would I be?
Knife bastard.
Knife bastard. I like that. You get a 2 extra P with the bastard. I was thinking more like Merry Wood Elf. Specializes in poison.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, can you kind of talk me through the rationale there? But if it's just someone expert in subterfuge and underhand assassination, then it kind of makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, and I play pipes, panpipes.
I'm a merry bard.
I'm a merry bard, yeah, and I have hoofs, dainty hoofs. Clop, clop, clop. That's not very stealthy. I'll get rid of these. No, Knife Bastard sounds pretty good. I imagine Knife Bastard though is I don't know. Yeah, knife on its own. That sounds like it would be fast, but Bastard makes it sound like it would be kind of slower, sluggish. What sort of character is that? Sort of like a Wookiee.
No, I was going to go with something kind of more kind of scaly, reptilian, hunched.
So okay. So go. Yeah. Speaking of reptilian hunched, going back to these 2 people who are getting married, what happens there, Damien? Do they get married?
We were talking about Behind the Curve again. Probably. I don't think their relationship was at that stage, really, but it was serious enough for this guy to kind of believe him better. Who knows? I mean, this was years ago. Let's assume that they did, because I don't imagine this guy would like to rock the boat in any aspect of his life. I'm sure, locked in everything that he's done. I'm sure she's perfectly happy. I'm sure he's miserable.
Okay, good. Yeah, that sounds like a happy ending. I was thinking, one of the things you said to me a while back when we were talking, we were talking as I suppose so many people have done in exactly the same way about, you know, that thing that's going on, coronavirus. And I think you said to me something about, oh, it turns out that the zombie films got it right when people are just sort of stood there screaming, and when we would watch them and sort of, especially with stuff like The Walking Dead, you'd just be like, what are you doing? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. That's stupid. It turns out you would do that. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, I remember saying that.
I mean, do you still feel like that?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the things that I think a lot of us have kind of observed in just by looking out of the window is that people have respond to this kind of, for lack of a better word, crisis with no sense of intelligence or responsibility. So as soon as I mean, you could see that. Yeah, for the most part, the people were fucking well off the fucking scale when they decided that toilet paper was the thing to stockpile and to go to wage war over.
Yes.
Yes, so it does. You can see that the decision making is left sorely wanting, which it seems to kind of recontextualize a lot of things like we were just mentioning Walking Dead, and I suppose for the writers' sake it kind of makes their writing look legitimate now, because before it was fucking bafflingly poorly written, but apparently people are that fucking stupid. So I don't know, maybe I have to give that show another watch and it might actually be a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, I don't remember Rick washing his hands very often though. Like, I mean, for for a virus that's transmitted by blood, they don't seem to mind blood on their faces.
You see, I was just about to believe him better, George, and you've already spoiled it. Now but then again, I think you've helped me dodge a bullet, because I think I'd immediately kind of default to my previous opinion of it's kind of shitty.
That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. We haven't done that. Duh, duh, duh. Duh, duh, duh. It's the Walking Dead news, where we discuss things that have happened on the Walking Dead, because we like it. I haven't watched it.
We do?
In a long time. Yeah. I assume it's dead, isn't it?
I don't know, actually. I think they're on season 10 or some bullshit like that. The last time I would have watched anything like that is when they did their fucking spin-off series, Fear the Walking Dead. And I think it'd probably been out a couple of years when I seen it, but I'd watched the first episode. I think I was on holiday or something, because it was the only thing I could kind of find on the TV, and that was more than enough for me. Thank you very much. More of the same, just somehow blander. I found
the zombie thing's kind of played out now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it had a heyday of quite a few years.
Yeah.
It was here, there, and fucking everywhere. So I'm not surprised that people have kind of, just kind of fizzles out like everything invariably does. Well, it's a trend, basically.
What took over from it? What's trendy, Damien? Damien, what is trendy? Do the kids still like the snow cones that are coloured, Damien?
With their hipping and their hopping.
And their vipping and their bopping.
They do know what the jazz is all about.
That's how we'll get them, because they don't know what the jazz is all about. That's their weakness.
You see, but it's like the new Coke. It will be around forever.
Ha ha ha. Baffling. What I say is very baffling. I can't remember what we were talking about, but it was very interesting.
You asked me what supplanted zombies in pop culture. Yeah. I mean, I really could say that was that kind of the advent of nerd culture becoming more popular. I would say it was probably overshadowed by the direction that the Marvel movies were going in. Fuck no. I mean, it's obviously not. It's not comparable, but that's all I can kind of stipulate at that. Really. Yeah, well, I don't know. Fucking people get bored of this shit.
Yeah.
And too much of it was just, poorly written. I mean, I knew people that hung on to The Walking Dead for quite a long time. But even towards the end, they were complaining about the things that, we'd kind of pointed our fingers at and kind of decided to clock out at like season 3 or whatever it may have been. I can't remember. But they clearly needed another 4 years of it.
Yeah, I used to watch The Shield, and I got into it because it was one of those things that they had on like Channel 5. So in Britain, back in the day, we only had, no channels because TV didn't exist. But then when TV did exist, and when I was around, there were 4 channels, and then there were 5. And Channel 5 was... Describe it, Damien. Describe Channel 5.
Channel 5 was the cheapest dirge TV that Britain could put together.
I knew you would say dirge. I knew you would use that word. I thought you were either going to just go dirge or garb dirge. I thought you were going to coin that.
Oh, that's my new band.
Garb dirge.
I don't want to oversaturate.
Garb dirge McAllister and his magic band.
That's all right. I quite like that.
Yeah. No, and his magic van.
With their hit single, Pickle Regret.
No, it's got a clear hyphen there. Pickle Regret. And then like pickles become like a really big thing, and you get people like Kelly Osbourne releasing her own pickles with like provocative names like "Stick these up your ass." And
that is provocative. I'll give you that.
Sensation. Yeah.
This is a pickle you could really wipe all over your face.
Pickles. Have sex with them. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Dirge. Channel 5 was Dirge, and they would have like the worst of everything on at all times. There was no reason to watch it. If they, their news was the poorest news, their soap operas were like the least known, or they were like old American soap operas that no one in Britain had ever heard of.
Yeah.
And it was just like there was no reason really to ever watch Channel 5 unless you were completely desperate. And they had this thing on called The Shield, and I think it was on quite late at night, and it was a sort of gritty American TV series that, to me at the time, looked really really highly produced, and I think probably for the time it was very highly produced, and I think it was just before The Wire, and I remember like really really loving that and getting all the DVDs I could, but I could only get like the first 2 or 3, and then I couldn't find any of the others, and all I could find was the last season. I think it was season 7. So I watched the first 3 seasons, and then I went straight to 7, and I liked them all, but it was interesting because it's like it didn't matter at all that I skipped 4, 5, and 6 at all. It was exactly the same situation. They were doing the same things. It's like really, in terms of content, I'd probably missed like, if you're going to do like a proper episode with content in it, like 2 episodes, you could have summarized the seasons in 1 episode each, maybe, of like what meaningfully happened.
Well, the main character got his haircut. You missed that.
No, he didn't, because everyone in that show was bald. And like the writer was bald, and like I think the director was bald, and honestly, like everyone apart from Walton Goggins is bald.
Sounds like a bit of a lemon party. I might have to check it out.
I've brought a pickle to the lemon party. Oh no! And that's
Mother's
how
favorite.
juice is made.
I mean,
throw a sausage in there, and you've got a Bloody Mary. Just get the vodka.
Oh, that's all kind. Yeah, I mean that's definitely pickle regret right there.
Pickle regret. I mean, have you ever had pickle regret? Have you ever had
No.
Chipotle regret?
Oh, I mean, absolutely yes. Yeah, I'm a glutton for shit like that. And then I always forget that I can't take it the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always sort of been vaguely concerned about your health. Because of your diet, mainly. And, you know, I just don't think you get enough sleep. But what do I know? I get too much, apparently, according to my fucking dog. Yeah, I don't know. I do remember, though, when you came to see me down in Mexico and you were like, you know, like putting like salt and Tabasco sauce into your beer.
Oh yeah,
You know, drinking like 12 of them a day.
Yeah, good times. Yeah. I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, before we got onto the fucking liquor.
The big cola.
The big cola, the big beer. Big beer. It's never as good as you wanted it to be, was it, big beer?
No, not at all. It's a shame. It looked good. It was an appropriate size, you know.
It's just, it was so weak. I seem to remember it was just like, it became more of an endurance thing. Like, I don't actually want to drink, you know, 2 liters of Miller Lite.
Yeah, it was definitely Carling-esque. It was not enjoyable.
Carling, is that not a premium brand in Britain?
No, it's a common brand, but I wouldn't call it premium. No.
You know, here in the United States, they laugh at your Stella Artois.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't hold it in any esteem at all. Not even as a ironic wife beating thing.
Well, this hurts, George. Why would you tell me such things?
I'm just telling you, it's true. It's true, and you know, other things like, well, I mean, it's not held in any esteem, but 1664, that's just, you know, specialty piss lager. It's not hoppy enough.
Right.
Do you remember we were trying those things like margarita flavored beer? Would that got you excited?
Oh, I know. Brian's awake.
Damien's dog is called Brian Wilson.
Yes, we were trying margarita beer.
Yeah, we had that can of, I don't even know what it was meant to be, but it was like 8%, and
oh, was it called like Loco or something?
Oh yes,
like that?
It was called something like Loco, yeah. And I took a sip of it and I wouldn't drink anymore, and you drank up the whole thing. Like,
yep.
was that a pickle regret?
Oh,
I
yeah,
certainly remember
totally.
feeling sorry for the lady who was cleaning my bathroom the next day.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you know, not to really make a comment on his presidency exactly, but you know, the last time you were in Mexico with me was when Trump was elected, right?
Yep.
Got you excited again. And
I know.
Sounds like a big thing you got there, Damien. Lot of skin.
Thank you very much.
And I remember we watched it, like we were having a bonfire where we were burning stuff and drinking as we were, you know, trying to do, and we just watched it, and I know, like, it was funny, right?
Yeah, we took.
It's not like we wanted Trump to win. It was just, it was pretty funny watching all these networks and everything that had, you know, said like it is unwinnable for him. Sort of like go, oh shit.
Yeah, there was definitely there was some Schadenfreude involved. Because as you say, that they were quite righteous in their kind of condemnation. Yeah,
and just as outsiders, you know, I didn't live in the US then, and just as outsiders, it was sort of fascinating and it was funny. Like, oh my god, you know, Donald Trump. But But then I guess there was, part of it would, I don't know. I guess what I was going to say was it's interesting that we went from him coming in like that, like, oh, okay, this is weird and unexpected, and now we're leaving and it's like, the middle of a pandemic, and he sort of leaves in disgrace. It's sort of like, what fictional character could I have that happen to and it be believable? Like Shockbot?
I mean, I have to say
Shockbot
because that's the only name I remember from that fucking show.
She's in my D, style in my do.
I can't wait to watch it tomorrow, man. I can't wait.
There's a bit obviously where we crossed into, okay, something about the way the show was made changed so that they can now swear, but they saved up all their swear points to the very end so that the principal can just scream "fuck," like scream it, like break windows with this scream, and like that's the only time anybody screams in the entire series. And do you think they could have said like shit 20 times, but because they wanted that in, that's the only thing they could do?
Yeah, but they also they would elaborate. It wasn't just an expletive. They wanted to capture a man having a breakdown, so the actor had to be prepared to kind of obviously strip down to his fucking pants, but obviously be seen shitting in his own pants while he's sweating profusely.
He lived as a prisoner of war for 6 months, before this, just to get into the right anger. He lived very harshly. People were, he lived in a hole where people were defecating into and onto him and whipping him and all sorts of stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the showrunners knew that they wanted to obviously end the second series with this, which is why you don't see the principal in season 2 almost at all up until obviously the finale, because that's what after they'd wrapped for season 1, that's when they shipped him off. To live in solitary for the next 11 months.
Sign the contract and that is it. That is it. You are done. Oh my god. Do you remember watching it and like drinking and watching it and then being like, I'm gonna go and check on the fire and then like put the fire out and then just go to bed and like leave it running and come back and we start watching it again, and we both start watching it and after like half an hour we look at each other and one of us says, I don't know what's going on.
Better rewind.
never knew what was going on in that show at all. What a haze it was.
Yeah, I couldn't really recount anything other than just what Shockbot would do with his arms.
Like it had a really sort of interesting, like cozy Hogwarts feel to it. Like I don't know, like it felt like, oh, this is like going camping. Like all these people live together, And
they play video games all day. It looked great fun. If it weren't for the people
and the concept.
And the cameras everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What have you been watching? Because now you're talking about that, I mean, there's nothing. I watched a whole series of Survivor. That was intolerable.
I've never watched that fucking show.
It was intolerable.
Is that... Yeah, is that they have a bunch of people on the line that they voted out every week? All right, okay. Yeah, fuck that.
It might as well not be on an island. It may as well be they're staying at a hotel in rooms, because all it's about is them negotiating behind each other's backs, and it's like I like an element of that, but like the series I watched was like season 18 where everyone was super familiar with what Survivor is, so it was just like watching like politicians get to work. Like I much preferred watching reality TV when people weren't necessarily like so cynical about it. Like, do you remember the first Big Brother, like with Nasty Nick? Maybe not.
Fucking vaguely.
And the whole thing about him was, he was talking behind people's backs, and the audience of Big Brother could obviously see this, but none of the housemates knew. And because it was new and no one had ever done it, it was like, oh, this is interesting. Someone's being a dickhead. But now it's like, it's not even seen like, oh, this is interesting. It's like, oh, this is just the way to play.
Yeah, par for the course, really.
But it's not just about like I'm on this thing doing these tasks. It's like I am playing this game.
Yeah. There are obviously certain moves to make at certain points. Certain functions at certain times.
Certain
things
kind of
to
say, certain ways to be.
Yeah, well, after what was he said, like fucking 2 decades of that shit, and of course it's routine. I mean, it's not necessarily down to the people actually that sign up for it, but definitely in terms of the producers and the people that handle that show, they've got it whittled down to a science. I can only imagine if these people actually went in thinking they were just going to be amiable people. I'm sure they would have been told, if you want to remain in front of the camera, then you have to do and say this. They're fed what to do. So I imagine why it's all quite so samey.
Yeah, I definitely think the sort of the format where you are sort of, it's more like a game, like actively like a game. I think that's more limited. The sort of game of Housewives of just who can get the most attention is, the meta game of it is where it's really at. Because you're always, I guess with those things, you're always trading off, like, how prepared are you to humiliate yourself? How much does that matter to you? Wow, I made myself sad again.
Because you realise that you totally fucking barrel down on that stuff and sell your soul.
What do you think the coronavirus episode of Frasier would be like?
I imagine it's just Frasier in nothing but a wife beater, slowly eating his father.
With his cock and balls out.
I mean, it's just him now.
I mean, I imagine it's not like he's explicit. Like, he has a substantial bush. He's very untrimmed. Like, you don't really see a lot, but he apart from this wife beater and his mismatched socks, they're both black, but they're not the same black. It is, it is out. It is out. So his brother's naked on the floor, and you see his junk as well.
But the act of consuming the father's remains is
father. Okay, so we're eating John Mahoney. That's not on. He's dead, Damien. He's dead.
Well, that's why they're eating him. He's not gonna fucking.
So he's
not gonna perform now, is he?
He's not died from the coronavirus. He's long dead. They've gone to the graveyard and picked you up. Right. Okay. So they're eating like his like. Years old. Oh my God, poor John Mahoney. Maybe I shouldn't call him by that name. What's his name?
Martin.
poor Martin.
Martin.
And Coca-Cola. Poor Martin. They're eating his.
No, just Frasier. It's just an act of it's a dominance thing, and kind of Niles is scurrying around the darker corners of the room, just watching from afar. He's waiting for Frasier to be consumed with the meat sweats and pass out, and that's when he can kind of take a few kind of crafty nips of the toes or something like that. Something that Frasier won't notice.
I thought you were going to say that's when Frasier passes out. That's when Niles unhinges his jaw and starts to consume Frasier from the head up.
Oh, all right, yeah, that's cool.
So does Frasier wake up and split his brother open then, or what?
No. I think it's like a proper horror movie kind of jump scare. It's like Niles kind of is behind the couch, right, and you can hear the jaw unhinging. He just leaps over in a moment and just clasps onto Frasier's head.
No, I think it'd be better if like, you know, Niles is scurrying about, like you said, watching Frasier eat Martin, you know, and, you know, Frasier knows he's there at all times, but he's just consumed with eating. And just nom 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 nom. You know, he's just so into it. You know, it's like he's in a frenzy. And then, like, once he's fully sated and like the meat is like coming out of his throat, he's so full, he just like leans back and like passes out. And then you just have like this like shot that like tracks back and it's uncut and it's just Niles as he walks up, unhinges his jaw like really slowly, like it takes him a minute, and then just starts to slowly eat Frasier from the feet up. And like Frasier's just like passed out. He never wakes up. There's never like a struggle at all. And then like Niles gets like halfway up, and then we cut, and it's just like Niles looking really happy with himself and enormous.
Jesus, that's frightening. I don't think I can go to sleep tonight now. I'm sorry if I see that in my mind. Oh, that's gonna be.
And then we bring in the damsel in distress, don't we? We bring in Daphne.
Now, where does Daphne fit into all of this? Because fuck knows. There shouldn't be any human life around these two.
Well, it's just Niles now, right? So it's just the only people left in the house are
a huge distended Niles.
yeah, like he's clearly eaten 2 humans.
He can't move for like 36 hours or something.
Yeah, he's enormous. And Daphne's like, "Where's Dr. Crane, Dr. Crane?" You can have a whole bit about that. Like where no one knows who's talking about who.
So it's gone from like exceptionally gruesome body horror to just vaudeville slapstick.
but she's talking to like this like slug thing. Like it's just like a blob with a face on it, looking really satisfied and tired. And like Niles can barely talk, and like he, you know, and like Daphne's like getting it out of him that he's eaten them, and then once she's got it out of him, they've got to decide what to do. Like, is she in this or what?
As this huge kind of moral dilemma.
Are you going to marry me, and we're going to inherit Frasier's radio show, and be revered as the gods we clearly are, or?
No, I think she. After a while, she starts to hear Frasier inside, starting to kind of writhe. He's not actually dead yet. He's being digested alive, but there's still life there, and she has this moral quandary about as to whether or not to slit Niles' belly open and save Dr. Crane.
Right. So then, would it be right? And could she? And does she know that Dr. Crane was eating on Martin? And does that factor into it?
Well, of course, because I mean, Martin's only kind of half eaten. The skeleton's there. I mean, when they went grave robbing, they took the entire coffin
afterwards.
What?
Niles had both of them. Like Niles had Frasier when he was asleep, and Martin was asleep was dead and half eaten, but Niles had that other half.
Okay, all right, yeah, I can kind of see that.
So, like, does she slit Niles open and then Frasier falls out, but you can see by Frasier's size that he's eaten he's eaten Martin.
It's like a Russian doll.
It's like a Russian doll. And then like inside Martin, eventually we find Eddie, and that's how it ends.
Or I don't know. I think maybe she obviously takes the knife or whatever, rolls him onto his stomach on his back to expose his stomach. Twist, you see stitches. She's done this before. It's a common occurrence. This is a regular thing that Frasier has these massive pass-outs, and Niles consumes him on an almost regular basis.
And then Jane walks over to Martin's chair, but it's a throne, and she sits down, and the sets change, and it's like all graffiti and stuff, and she says, "And that's how I became the Queen of Seattle." And like it's a twist, right? She inherits all of like Frasier's money and apartment, and she has a black family living with her, working for her.
This is revolutionary. We've got a treatment together. I don't think we can publish this now.
You know, and it's all about like, you know, like getting black people to understand the white perspective. I can't even say it without laughing. I just love the idea of. I just love the idea of Jane Leaves being like waited on by Jeffrey, but there are like 5 Jeffreys, and they all fucking hate her, and they all know way more about fashion and everything than her, and it's like Queer Eye for a straight guy, but it's Jeffrey for Daphne. Jeffrey's for Daphne. He's not gay, but he just knows, you know, how to dress properly, and you know, he knows about fashion, and he's interested in it, and she's not interested.
Etiquette.
At all. Yeah, he knows about that. And he's
table setting.
Yeah, he takes it seriously, and you know, he imparts all of that on her, and yeah, it's like an Odd Couple thing.
But she has none of it, and that's how we milk 8 seasons out of it.
She has none of it. There's no progress.
It's 8 years of just no, until yeah. All right, fine. She's got it. End.
Oh, I would love that. They should do. You know, they could do it with computers, couldn't they? Wonderful crossovers. I mean, look at Trailer Park Boys. They didn't let Leahy's death stop them from exploiting his image, did they?
Of course not. Yeah. Turn him into a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine.
Oh, have you seen any of it?
No, not at all.
You're more of a Rick and Morty guy.
Don't say that.
Isn't it true?
No. No. I've shed that part of me.
Zoinks.
Oh yeah, I'm still a Scooby-Doo man. I'm not an idiot.
Classic.
It's classic and it's classy.
Oh, fucking! I'm trying to think how Roz fits into all of this. Roz is like Jazzy Jeff, and Jeffrey's always throwing Roz out because Roz is always coming on to one of the Jeffreys.
Is it always the same Jeffrey? Are they distinguishable, the Jeffreys?
I don't know. What do you think? We could have like a sleepy Jeffrey, and
This can't become a dwarf situation now. One's a happy Jeffrey.
well, what ideas do you have for what the Jeffrey should be? I'm an industrious Jeffrey.
Entrepreneur Jeffrey.
I'm a French Jeffrey. That's my personality, French.
I don't... And I'm the hairy Jeffrey.
And I'm very hairy, and I'm like a Katamari ball, and I just pick things up and get larger and larger and larger.
Yeah, halfway through season 1, they had to kind of dispense with him because he's too large for the set. So you only see him if they draw the curtains in the drawing room.
What's that I hear, Damien? McToot has sound his bagpipe, and now begins the terror of the family Ness. What did they have? They had Pirate Ness and Lovely Ness. So you have Pirate Jeffrey, Lovely Jeffrey, and then there was...
And there's laziness. Was there laziness? Or
that would make sense if there was laziness. But there was like Gymnast Jeffrey, and the problem was it wasn't very well thought out because there was Pirate Jeffrey, but then there was like something that was very much like a pirate, like Gruff Jeffrey or something, or Gruffness. Sorry.
I was about to say I'm not really following anymore. We've got to kind of the delirious portion of the conversation now.
What do you mean?
I don't really know where I am. Oh, I know. but I'm very cloudy now.
It's like my inspiration behind these podcasts was Captain Beefheart and all the stories I would hear about him, like torturing people before they even started like trying to record a session. Like just getting them to do the same thing over and over, and that's what we do. And you love it.
Only because I've been told to love it.
And there you go.
My instincts would say say otherwise, but I'm not sure. I just keep hearing this voice saying, "Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do."
That's not me, Damien.
So...
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. That's not me. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Just noises now.
Tappy toe.
Tappy toe. Yeah. So where does Roz fit into this? Oh yes, Roz is. Yeah, that's right.
She's humping one of the Jeffrey's legs like a Jack Russell.
But he keeps kicking her out.
Which Jeffrey? Hairy Jeffrey? Gruff Jeffrey?
Is it a different Jeffrey every time though?
Oh, I mean that would be in keeping with her character and what we know.
And are they going to be, guest Jeffreys? Like I'm Jamaica Jeffrey, and he is like he is a Rasta and he smokes weed, and that is.
Then we have Cowboy Jeffrey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. We'll make an exception in Roz's case, and obviously Daphne, because she's obviously title role, but everyone else is a Jeffrey.
Everyone else is a Jeffrey. Yeah. Cool. And Daphne takes it upon herself to host dinner parties and stuff, I assume.
Oh no, she's quite content just to kind of live out her days as a lonely spinster, but Jeffrey is always cracking the whip. He won't let her fall into those bad habits.
So Jeffrey's like a demon that's haunting her or something. Like she just can't get rid of him. Like, I will not leave you until you are married, ma'am. And then, and that's when he, dematerializes and then reappears and there's 5 of him.
Yeah. We have a shot of Daphne going to bed in this luxurious queen-size bed, but there's a big stone kind of plinth that hovers over the bed frame, and after she goes to sleep, all of the 5 Jeffreys come in, slowly climb up, perch on top, looking over her, then turn to stone.
And if you come home late at night, and you slam that fucking patio door one more time, I'll get Bastard Jeffrey on you.
He watches you when you sleep.
Except when he's stoned, when he's trying to sleep. In which case, shut up. Yeah, okay, so Daphne's being haunted by these Jeffreys, and the only way he's going to go is, he wants to see her get married and be happy. So she's got to put on all these dinner parties and stuff to meet people. And that's the show.
Yes, yeah. He's trying to get her out of the house because it was formerly Jeffrey Manor, and she's an unwelcome presence there.
So his idea then is, he's haunted her, because she's obviously, killed Frasier and he's gone into her, and he now haunts her until she's married. But what he's not told her, the part of the deal he hasn't told her, is that when she does get married, she will be free of him, but she'll also be banished from Jeffrey Manor, and she doesn't know that. And then that's like part of the season progression is he going to let that out at some point? That's the thing. How's she going to react to that? Is that going to be a rift?
Or maybe she comes across it, relatively early on, but she knows if she comes forward with this information, then he might all straight out just dispense with her there and then, so she has to play along. Especially Bastard Jeffrey. He's not going to tolerate that.
Yes, but then she makes an alliance with Loveliness Jeffrey.
Right, okay, so she starts playing the Jeffreys against each other.
Yes, because although they are alike, they also do have things that they don't agree on. Like Bastard Jeffrey thinks that, even if they never use it, it's a good idea to erect a gallows outside, just to show people that the rule of law, is present at the Jeffrey Manor. Whereas lovely Jeffrey thinks more that, if a Jeffrey does step outside of the rule of law and betray Daphne or the Jeffreys in some way, then they should just be banished.
Banished,
even though consigning a Jeffrey to an outside environment without the other Jeffreys would essentially be banishing him to death. It isn't as cruel as the typical the traditional Jeffrey execution method, which is what, Damien? Death by Carlton. It's not unusual. No, make it stop. Make it stop. It's not unusual. Make it stop. Yeah, and Carlton's just like the gimp. Like, he lives in the basement, and like they just take this leather gimp mask off him, and he just starts immediately, like dick in hand and everything.
He's been chained up and experimented on in the basement for many, many years. There's nothing below the torso, and they've hooked his arms up to motorized spindles, so when he does its unusual dance, it's going it through 1,000 RPM. So death by Carlton essentially means that they are slowly fed into that fan and gently ground down into a fine dust.
It's not up to his waist though; it's up to his neck. Like, all it is Carlton's neck, and then these massive, like very thin, great many like tentacle like metal knives, like extremely long like knives, just like flicking everywhere, like like a whip, like like a frayed rope, like whipping around, like it's just that, but they're his legs, and he's just like grinning as he's doing this and just flailing everywhere, and it's just like being lacerated to death.
Jeez, I think I've had this dream before. It's that thing has chased me down like thousands of hallways.
It's like it's coming at you and like lacerating you, but then it's like dancing back. It's like dancing all the time, and like you don't die straight away. You've got to listen to it sing and you just bleed out.
Oh yeah, you have to go in. You have to walk into those blades willingly. It'll only get so close, but it will sing, and it will sing.
Yeah, and that's why they've banned that, and now it's the gallows. It's merciful compared to Death by Carlton.
Well, every now and again, he demands a sacrifice. Otherwise, he simply just gets louder, and you can start to hear him from the catacombs.
Not unusual, not unusual, not unusual. He demands flesh. That's where Will Smith is. Down there in the labyrinth, in Carlton's Labyrinth.
That's the name of the show, right?
Carlton's Labyrinth. Yeah. So that's a whole element of the show about Daphne dating people.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Is Carlton's in it?
It's really gonna throw people through a loop, right? When they tune in for the season opener, and it opens up on Frasier in nothing but a wife being eaten his dad. And it ends with the being chased down a dungeon corridor by a mechanized Carlton.
It is like the whole like 4 or 5 seasons of Frasier up to that point have really just been like an incredibly long intro to it's all about Daphne. Dun. You didn't think it was, but it is. And also like nightmare, like Lovecraft Carlton is in it. Like cyborg Lovecraft Carlton.
We only ever see him in the final 10 minutes of the entire series.
Yes, it is terrible.
But he's always been an ever-present threat.
Yeah, sometimes you like see like his outline and you hear him talk and things. Well, I mean, talk through singing Tom Jones stuff. Oh, we could do a whole episode where he gets hit on the head by like a Bible or something that falls out of off a shelf, and he starts being obsessed with Tom Waits. just for an episode.
Absolutely. Was that we feel like like a Halloween episode where they're deliberately quite spoofy?
Yes. Yeah, there's lots of nods.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe Alphonse could. Oh no, well, we'll talk to Alphonse about it when we.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves there.
He's fine. He's on the line. Now, what about the Aunt Viv situation?
I think we're starting to lean too heavily on the cast of Fresh Prince. It was supposed to be a Frasier themed spin-off.
Okay. So who else then, apart from Roz? I mean, do we want to bring Kenny into the mix? I don't think so.
No. Well, I don't know. I think
I don't mind Kenny. I just Frasier was on the decline then. I don't want to think about those.
Well,
Frasier
Frasier is by all accounts dead at this point. But I suppose when the Jeffries kind of venture further into the catacombs and like towards the ossuary, I mean that's a great opportunity for plenty of kind of old cast cameos that we can have strung up in these dungeons. Basically, they don't have to not speaking part,
like Ted Danson. Sort of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. If no dialogue, I think we can get away with paying them significantly less for their appearance.
Yeah, just a walk on, quick thing, less than half an hour sort of thing.
Yeah, just wail, not just wail in absolute agony for 20 minutes. That'll give us enough.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
That we can repurpose throughout the show. A bit of sound editing. I think.
Yeah, get a good wild track of Ted Danson screaming in agony, just in case we need that for something. Yeah.
How else have we kind of left out? You're not a fan of Bulldog, so I won't.
Oh, I'm not a fan of Bulldog, but I mean, if you think he should be in it,
I'm just not seeing quite where he slots into it, really.
Maybe he keeps coming on to Daphne, and Daphne punches his, kicks him in the balls or something, or he keeps coming on to Roz or something, and Roz is like, fuck off, and then Daphne has enough and kicks him in the balls, and it's like, ooh, Daphne's the badass. We thought Roz was the badass, but Daphne's the badass, and Bulldog dies.
No, I don't think it should be that. I think it's obviously we've tried to write in Roz as kind of always trying to hump one of the
Jeffers.
The Jeffers, yeah. I think that she, there should be one episode where she really pushes her luck, and the Jeffries are like, right, I've had it. This is fucking it, right? And
yeah,
we don't see it, but we just got Roz is in bed or something like that. You see shadow overcast and just cuts to black. Wakes up, her head is sewn to Bulldog's belly or something. She's always looking at his feet and his junk for the rest of her natural life.
Okay, that's not where I thought you were going to go, thank God, but okay.
Oh, let's hear. Where do you think I was going?
I thought you were going to talk about them gangbanging her. I thought that was obviously where it was going. I mean, it's Roz.
Okay. But I don't think trying to bang her into submission is going to work. I think that's...
I didn't say that. Yeah, I mean...
It's a bit of a red rag to a bull, really.
I'm trying to think now of who else was in Frasier. And there aren't that many people, really. Who are in it regularly. There's I can't even say his name. There's in the Fennies.
Oh yes, Gil Chesterton.
Gil, yeah. Where would Gil be?
That's he'd be like the hunchback gatekeeper or something.
Right. So he'd move in, would he?
Yes, but I don't think he has any kind of really large part of the show. I think his kind of big thing is in the during the opening credit sequence where they kind of do the wacky fly through of the mansion, and he's like the first face that you see as you're going through the front door.
He's baking a cake.
No, he just stood outside with like a pike and like one eye or some shit.
Right, okay.
But was still like an incredibly foppish neckerchief. And he's kind of like doing this thing with his hand and enticing you in.
he's got like a pitchfork with like shit on the end of it, and he's just like chewing some straw he's just picked out of it. And he like lives with the cows, like, but he still talks the same way and everything. Still has all these opinions on art. Yeah.
Yes, totally. Yeah, lives in the stables easily.
Because although Daphne lives in Fraser's building is surrounded by farmland now. Fraser's building is essentially, like the castle, the high castle of the local area.
Okay, yeah, I like this. This is coming together quite nicely.
It makes sense with Jane Leeves having that sort of British accent that she has.
Oh yeah, I mean she's obviously, she was formerly one of the village peasants, and has obviously worked her way up. She's very, very lucky.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. That one dropped off.
Well, so do these peasants belong to Jane Leeves? I mean, is this now not just like, a dating thing? Is she going to have to rule over these people? That's not what I signed up for. Or is it more like a sort of, oh, you're a princess now type film where it's not like you have to actually do anything. It's just like, you have a prime minister or something to do everything. You just fanny about. And then like...
Fuck it, I think just fanny about, that's it.
And then, like, you could, that could be a major role, like you could have the Prime Minister. Like, I would have said that would have been Gil, but obviously we've cast him against type there. So what about Kramer? Could he be the Prime Minister?
Oh, I see. So
But then that's not going to work with the Jeffreys, though, is it? Because, or maybe that's a contentious thing.
Oh, yes. No, I don't think that's probably not a good idea. But, maybe if he plays ball, it might do something to kind of rebuild his shattered public image.
I mean, what would he have to do that? Would he have to, like, make a statement or something?
No, just be really accommodating to the Jeffreys, But don't make a big deal out of it. Just, treats them as equals. I'm sure he can manage that.
Well, yeah, but that's something like really accommodating to them, though, is it? I mean, that's just treating them like you're meant to. Like, I mean, that's you can't say he's going to make amends for things by, no longer being a dickhead. Apologize for saying that racist word. Well, I won't say it again.
I think that's good enough.
No, it's not. This is if we appoint him Prime Minister. But then what about George? Or is that too Seinfeld? I mean, Kramer's sort of obviously Seinfeld as well, but Kramer's more like a sort of his own entity.
Yeah, I think we should maybe dispense with all that. Maybe just go straight to the source. Larry David is the Prime Minister.
Larry David is the Prime Minister. Great, we've got it. And then he could wear like a hat, not necessarily like a skull cap, but a hat that is too small for his head. And then that could be good because obviously this is like like set in a sort of fantasy. Like then you got the parallels, but then he's like of an indiscernible faith.
Okay, yeah.
Like he's in the garments of like a Catholic bishop.
Right. Okay.
And then yeah. But then
okay, so he's like a holy man, like a white mage. Is he kind of?
Yeah.
And he's trying to purge the Jeffrey menace.
What? Why?
From the,
No, we swapped out Kramer for Larry David, so the Jeffreys feel accommodated, didn't we?
Right. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Fine.
No, we want Larry David because we know that Larry David thinks that black people are funny too.
Okay, gotcha. I'm up to speed.
He's with it.
Fingers on the pulse.
I'd say so.
Down with the kids.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I guess there's gonna be lots of like things there for him to do, lots of storylines, Damien.
Do we have to get them all down this evening?
I mean, I think it'd be good to get a few down. So we've got something for the investors.
I think we've given them gold already, and if they want any more than that, they're looking to gift horse in the mouth. They can fuck right off.
Cheryl David has said yes, provisionally yes. So, if that makes a difference.
Yeah. And we do have the Alfonso Ribeiro, so... Granted, not until season 8, but we're not going to tell you quite why. Spoil the surprise. Yeah. Wink, wink.
We could probably do something with his body as well, like maybe put it in a museum or something. I mean, we shouldn't really just let that rot.
Oh yeah, because we're going full method and we're going to decapitate Alfonso.
We've done it to show them that we're committed.
Where's his head and his arms? What's this? Well, we've got a fucking belter for you, but come down here.
What's the name of this show? Oh my god, I know what it is.
Go on.
Well, it's all about Daphne. Sans Crane.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
So what, are we just saying Sans Crane or Daphne, Sans Crane?
I think it should be called, without a colon, Daphne Sans Crane, and then colon, without the cranes.
No colon, but in really big letters.
Yeah.
Jeffrey!
Yeah, so it's Daphne Sans Crane, colon, without the cranes, and then no grammar at all, just a new line. Jeffrey in massive letters.
He put his Comic Sans. Really ridiculous.
The rest, the other stuff is in like a proper, a really good font, like a gothic sort of thing. It's bold and serious, and
I was thinking papyrus.
Papyrus, it's a bit too fruity.
Classy.
No, it's not classy. It's not classy.
Yeah, it's classy.
It's classy for the spa.
Exactly. Where Daphne spends most of her time before the Jeffreys find her.
Have to build a spa set. I mean, I definitely anticipate a lot of the time in this show people are going to be wearing full-length bathrobes.
Very, very steamy.
Oh, God. I wish I were making TV, because I've watched everything.
Well, if you're given the opportunity, you'll be able to hit the ground running with some of the stuff we coined tonight, so don't you worry about that.
Now, are we missing anyone? I just want to make sure. I mean, are you sure we shouldn't have Uncle Phil somewhere? Because he seems so important. But, but obviously not to the Frasier lore.
I don't think in person. I think they can allude to him in kind of some of the backstory, but we have to remember that it's the Jeffreys that have been running this manor for nigh on a century now. They've gotten rid of everybody. They roost there now.
Maybe it could be good enough if just occasionally, rarely even, the Jeffreys mention him, and they say very little, but they obviously hold him in very high regard. He's considered, so almost sort of like prophet-like among them.
Right.
Perhaps.
I was thinking
compared to the devil, which is obviously Will Smith.
Yes, yeah. I was thinking something a little more adversarial, really. Someone that they fear but nevertheless respect.
So
a previous master or something.
It's more like he's a poltergeist. Yeah, I like that. It has a supernatural lair.
Because we didn't have enough of that already.
Ghost dummies. But I don't really see what was supernatural about it before.
I thought this has gone pretty fantastical. What are you talking
Where?
about?
Where?
Gargoyle Jeffries?
That's high sci-fi.
Okay, fine.
This
fine,
is like
fine,
Arthur C.
well,
Clarke stuff. This is all explainable. You've just got to, believe. But it is science-based.
Any sufficiently sophisticated Carlton is indistinguishable from magic.
I mean, we're not there yet. Hence the flailing metal tentacles everywhere, and the fact that he is stuck on a loop. But otherwise, I think this is a success.
I think so too. It's probably the best thing I've committed myself to in a long time.
And he works for SAG minimum.
He'd have to. He's been out of work for quite a while.
Still waiting for that Fresh Prince movie. I remember an episode of The Fresh Prince where Will Smith faces off against someone in a basketball tournament, and then Will Smith realizes that this guy has a kid and is like a single father, and like doesn't have all the opportunities that Will Smith has, being the nephew of a judge. So he throws the game, and the guy with the kid wins, and then is able to do basketball for real. And Will Smith is really proud of himself for throwing the game, and I always really hated Will Smith for that, like that he threw that game. Like, I don't know, like I wanted to see that guy beat him, fair and square. I wanted to see Will Smith won it and get fucking crushed by this guy.
Well, then it met perhaps in any aspect of Will Smith's life.
I wanted it to end with this guy just being just clearly better than Will Smith, and Will Smith not being able to take it and mouthing off, and like mouthing off and losing it and lunging for this guy, and then this guy just stomping him out. So I was very disappointed. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you.
Well, that's fine. No, but that's again a potential treatment for some fan fiction. Down the line.
Oh, we'll be doing a fan art episode. So if you want to, I mean, I was thinking, now it would be, the fantasy would be like Danny DeVito destroying Will Smith. But we've never got fan art like that. Our fan art's always very good. Thank you, Terry. Very good renderings of what it would look like if Damien took a shit by standing on the toilet. I mean,
yeah,
that was amazing. Yeah, we'll put those up again, and I guess now is as good a time as any to say that some people have sent me fan art, and I'm keeping hold of that. So if you sent me fan art 2 years ago and it's never been up on the podcast, and you've moved on with your life and become a real human being, then prepare to be fucking embarrassed. Because it's going up, and if you would like to send me some fan art, send it through Facebook. I have a Facebook page. Send it through there. Don't send me a life story. I don't care. I get a lot of weird shit, right? I'd love to have a chat. I met some really nice people who I once had a chat with, and thank you all for your support. But nowadays, I get sent weird stuff all the time, and it's just, I can't look at any more of this shit. Stop sending me poems about killing yourself. Mum.
Jesus.
Mum.
That seems like a nice little note to kind of pin it on, to be perfectly honest.
Nice and happy. Yeah, if anyone wants to do any fan art, that would be great, wouldn't it, Damien?
It would be delightful.
I mean, you don't have to. I'm not going to say your name. I guess. I mean, I might. I don't know. Do you think I should?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'll say your name maybe I won't, I don't know. If you send me something and put it up, I might say your name if it's comprehensible to me. Please draw pictures that will cheer Damien up.
Oh, is that the brief?
Yeah.
It can be anything, it just has to cheer me up.
Brief. Put a smile on Damien's face. How about that? So I guess we're done. I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with what's the Sans Crane. Sans Cranes or Sans Crane?
Sans Crane. Daphne Sans Crane. Jeffrey.
Daphne Sans Crane, without the cranes. Jeffrey.
The cranes. Jeffrey.
Yeah.
The podcast.
The podcast. Yeah. Send your beef to that. Okay, so I guess we're done.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So thanks for listening, and see you next week.